And we should be here live. It's the FOKLZ podcast. Let's get started. Hello, mate. How are you?
I was just the intro over and over again on my headphones. Like, one day it will stop.
I have no idea why it just decided to continue and continue and to continue. But nonetheless, there it is, the intro. We'll leave it up for a minute. We'll just leave it up for a minute. How are you, mate? You all good?
Yeah, busy time. End of the transfer window is always the busiest time of my life. This week is like the most ever goes on. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I mean, this week has been mad because the last time we spoke was before the Leeds game. We talked about the Man United game, which was dreadful, I'll be honest. I ended up on the Cannon podcast as well, which is quite controversial. Alex and I not agreeing about runs by Gyokeres, but there we go. And then we've had we've had Eze sign, obviously. We've had this Hincapie news. There's loads going on, mate. Loads going on. We'll go through it. But do you know what? Let's start on something non-Arsenal very quickly. Man United. Thoughts?
I mean, look, I said for weeks that, you know, their attacking silence are good, but I still don't think that their attack was the issue that much. Like, people will say to me, yeah, they underperformed XG, but, you know, you talk to people and they're like, well, yeah, but, you know, they should be able to get more closer to that XG anyway without the players. And I was like, well, where's the midfield? Where's the defence? And I said the problems are going to happen when they play different teams. And I do feel bad for Amorim. Like he isn't like as much as a egotistical guy like Erik ten Hag was, where it was just very unlikable. Like, I do feel for him specifically, but in this league you have to be a tactician. You have to change things all the time, and we saw it with Ange. Ange is a good coach, very, very well experienced across the entire world, but he is not a guy that likes changing his systems up per minute, per game, and that's what you have to do at this level. This is the highest, and Amorim is younger compared to a lot of managers, and he needs time. Like, even now, like, we talk about Arteta, like, and his project and stuff, but, you know, we saw it at the start where Arteta had the right principles in mind, but he was so inexperienced. There was a lot of issues there for many years. And even now, like, we can still talk about him not being a perfect manager. There is problems there still. It just takes a long time to get to that level. Like, sometimes it is a little bit luck as well. Like, I do think the club, the melting pot that is Man United, doesn't help players or managers, and I think that's a big part of it. Because I think, like, arguably, I don't think Slot is the best tactical manager in the world, but he just won the Prem because, you know, great players, great environment, and he did a great job at that. But yeah, that picture of Amorim when he's sitting there on the board, moving it all. I was in loads of group chats and everyone's like, well, this could be the end. And I was like, that picture just looks so bad. So it just
The amount of different photoshops that I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I just decided against it because they were just blowing up on X. And I thought, no, I'm going to leave everyone else to it for once. I won't be the one person doing the weird photoshops. But I mean, the worrying thing is, though, Grimsby didn't have their best 11 out. And then that first half, they were all over him. Like, it's one of those things where, you know, like you play against a lower league team and sometimes you won't perform as well. You kind of, you know, that old saying of stooping down to someone else's level. Like, it seemed, I can understand that happening. But they were getting played off the park at times. There was too much space. They were running through that midfield. It's so concerning what can happen to a football club, regardless of the amount of money that they spend. And I do worry, like, what will happen? Although I'm not going to worry too much, because if they ever got relegated, it would be like my birthday. It'd be like Christmas morning. Be unbelievable. I would welcome United getting relegated. But there we go.
There's too many bad. If this was like 10 years ago, there actually would have been a real consideration that could happen. But the money in the league has just meant that a lot of teams, you even buy smartly or poorly, and there's so many poor teams. Like, they're not poor teams, but there's so many teams that I just look at and go, they're just not good. They're going to get relegated. Like,
yeah.
And I think United, I don't think United are going to get relegated, but I think a part of that, they just don't play good football. And like sometimes it's so simple. Like just don't play this system. Like just don't bother.
Yeah.
Just try something else.
They've got Burnley next, haven't they?
Yep,
I
Burnley
think.
tomorrow, I think, on a 3 o'clock. That's why everyone
Do you
was
reckon they
annoyed.
beat Burnley right now?
I haven't watched Burnley this season. I didn't watch them a lot last year. I know they barely conceded any goal. I think they did concede a goal for nearly 3 months, wasn't it? Obviously they don't have Trafford anymore. So I mean, maybe I haven't watched Scott Parker manage in like 3 years. So I don't know. Maybe I don't really know where they're at. Like you would think that the attacking quality of United would be enough. Like I look at United's team and I just go like the problems are like mostly the system. A lot of the players, yeah, you can argue as well, but I don't think their players are bad. Like I just think they're not being used right. Like the whole Cobby situation as well is like what are they doing, man? Like this is completely not on Amarin though. This is completely on the board to hire a manager that didn't suit a lot of their players in the first place. Like I don't begrudge Amarin for playing the system he wanted to play. Like fair enough. I do think at this point you should have changed, or at least at the start played the system that maybe is better for now, and then moved into your system a bit more.
Like Arteta did.
Like Arteta did. Yeah. I think that and keeping the same principles would have been fine, but to not play Cobby, to play a 2-man midfield in the Premier League is kind of criminal in 2025 because teams are playing 3 or 4, and that is just an easy way to get at you. But to not play, I know I've been quite like honest about Cobby for a while, saying that like he is still inexperienced. He doesn't really know the player he is. I know people have question marks about his athleticism and his like movement, but he is really good in tight areas. He's great at progressing the ball. Like there is good things about him. But they just play this weird 2-man system where Bruno doesn't work there, but they play him there anyway because they signed Cunha and Mbeumo, who at the time I said like, did they need them? You had Ahmad and Bruno as your best 2 players. They could have just played in them 2 spots, but whatever. And then it's like Kobbie Mainoo is now not playing. This guy was starting for England at the European Championships, and now he's nowhere to be seen, and he wants to get a loan deal. So
I was going to say that.
Hopefully he gets a good loan. That's what I hope.
Quick couple of questions though. While we're on the United thing. So Just Tom is in a chat. Hello, mate. Don't you think Garnacho stinks of Chelsea? So a match made in heaven. I mean, he does stink of Chelsea. Again, though, that is bad business from what I've seen of transfer fees. It seems like they're almost letting him go. And again, if Amarim leaves, he seems like a prime candidate to go in on the wing, because most managers are going to play with out-and-out touchline wingers. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me.
They're all gone. All the wingers are gone. Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho. Like, if this is the problem, like United do this. This is what they do. This is what they do. They buy managers that play a specific system, get rid of all the players that don't fit that, and then sack their manager, and then they've got none of them players. They've bought Patrick Dorgu. So if you go to a normal back 4, I mean, he can play as a winger, so maybe he's your right winger. Fair enough, like backup. That's not the worst. You might have got away with that. But there's a lot of other players in their team that just won't work in other systems. And like wingers, in my eyes, right now in professional football, are like make or break teams. I think wingers are highly important to our team.
We've seen it.
Way more than strikers, like way more than like attacking midfielders, you could argue, in terms of on the ball. Wingers are just so important, and to not play any is crazy to me. Like I know he has Ahmad as a wing back and then whatever, but it is crazy. This isn't the Bundesliga where everyone plays 5 backs and just hoofs the ball forward. Like I think Amaron in the Bundesliga would be amazing. He'd be like king to them, but not here. Like I don't know. I don't feel bad for United because their fans specifically still have this mentality of every time they sign a good player, they think they're going to get like top 2 in the league. They're always going about how great they are, and then 2 games into the season, we're here again.
This is the argument I had when they had just played us, because if you watch the game back, and I did, oh my God, I did. It was dreadful, but I made myself do it. And rewatching it, when you're not emotionally invested and you're thinking, you know what the scoreline is, so that kind of jeopardy's gone. United didn't really have many clear-cut chances. I know it was Dorgu who hit the post, wasn't it? But there was nothing that, watching it back, I go, oh, that's really, really bad, or like really, really dangerous. And all the media, all of the fans that I've seen and talked to, essentially we're going, oh yeah, that's it now. We might be able to push for top 4 now. Like we just showed that, and I thought the years I saw Arsenal doing this, and the league's so much stronger now in terms of like across the board. It's the average is way higher. So I don't know. They should have seen it coming. You can't make a couple of signings and attack and then expect the whole league to, wilt under you. And at the same time, mate, talking of signings, when your star striker bottles taking pens until number 10, there are concerns. Was it the right choice already? Can we say that mentality is the reason for that? Because I think it's a load of rubbish that Amorim told his striker not to take a pen.
I don't think Amarin had any involvement. He was sitting in the dugout, not even watching the pens. Like by his interviews, it doesn't seem like he really said anything. They kind of just took the mantle. So, I mean, I love Šeško, and I'm not going to change the fact I like him because he's at United. Like, I'm not like, going to pretend I don't like him now. Same with Xavi Simons. But I think the biggest issue with Šeško has been that mentality. It's something that I spoke about. Like, his mentality isn't as good. And, you can talk about the data and the stats, which is like more what I would lean into when I talk about players, because we just don't know mentally. Like, we can't go into it too much. But it does seem like mentally he is not there. But people need to remember, like, you're comparing him to a Gyokeres. Gyokeres is 5 years older. Gyokeres has had very much like a lot of adversity in his career where he's had to prevail. But everyone knows how good Benjamin Šeško has been since he was 16. He was on Football Manager at 17 years old. Since this, like, everyone was signing him on FM22. He's the best wonder kid. He was so good in his home country when he was at Salzburg. Like, he's been at all these clubs, and everyone spoke about Šeško for years. Like, he's almost had that sort of silver spoon heritage of you're going to be great. So, like, it's just a different thing. He's still super young. Like, in the Euros as well, he had a lot of stuff on him for his country, and he kind of got a bit nervous. Despite not playing bad, I remember that one-on-one he missed against Portugal, and then I think they went out on pens. Like, that he should have scored. There is issues there, but he is super young, and, like, yeah, he should be taking a pen against Grimsby at the end of the day. United had a lot of forwards on, to be fair, and good pen takers up until, like, 6 or 7. So taking 10 is still crazy to me. But I still think, like, I would rather Maguire taking a pen, who's amazing at pens, by the way, and then, like, all the other attackers. But, like, he scored it at the end of the day. It's not like he missed. So it's not like that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but
true.
I also don't think Šeško had the worst game. He's just in the middle of a team that plays a back five in a low, like, they're playing like a bit of a low block, and he couldn't get the ball.
It's
and
so
like
crazy.
And it's like, I mean, like, they just didn't really affect him. I know he snatched at a chance late on, but that was kind of a ball scramble, and I don't really blame him too much. And I do find it funny that, like, there's been this whole, like, I don't know, pitchfork whole, like, thing about people that spoke positively about Šeško. And I will say, like, I haven't been called out because I think people know when I speak about stuff, I'm usually quite positive, genuinely. And about the whole Gyokeres situation, I was always very on the positive side, even though I preferred Šeško, and that still isn't going to change my opinion. But I was more like, oh, I think Gyokeres will still be good. I know a lot of content creators are like, no, he's awful. He's going to be bad. And even on Twitter. And I don't see the world like that. I don't like thinking like that. But I don't like this pitchfork of, like, oh, people wanted Gyokeres, Šeško over Gyokeres. Look what's happened. It's like, that was his first start. That was his first start at United. United are also a shambles. And like I said to you a few weeks ago, like, the problem with him is if he goes to a United, he needs to have that support. He's a young guy. We've spoke about his mentality, but he needs that help. That is on his decision to go to there over us and Newcastle. More Newcastle than us, because we're still not sure about that. But like, that is on him. I'm not saying it isn't, but ultimately, like, we're 2 games in. Like, I still want Šeško to be good. Like, I do want him to be good. If United lose like 5-4 every game and he scores 4, I'd be happy. I know some people won't because they want this, like, tribalism of Gyokeres over him, but I don't really see like that. I see it as, like, a young kid who's developing, and, like, I don't know, just I want to see people reach their potential. Like, I want to see Kobbie Mainoo play for England and be a great player, because I know he can be. I don't want him being not on the bench for United, not playing in 17th. Like, I hate that. Like, I want these players to play.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, mate. I want them to fail. I want to see Old Trafford down in flames, playing Grimsby every couple of weeks. That's what I want to see. Now, the whole thing is, this is the problem, because there's always, you said about, tribalism. You always have this optic for your team, And that's the one thing. Like, I don't like Garnacho. Like, he's not for me attitude wise. I think it's probably like the overrating from United fans at points as well. He is quite a clutch player though, and he has got certain attributes that are fantastic, especially for his age. Like, he does seem quite mature in certain respects, like mature on the pitch, maybe not off the pitch. But I can still easily say, the amount that Chelsea look like they're going to pick him up for is too low. If you look at the market, you're looking at 45 to kind of 60 million for like a good winger, really. So I just think, like, you just got to be fair at times. And Sesko, like you said, he is a young player, and this is the only thing. When we were looking at signing him, I said, one, does he fit Arteta's system? And I look at the system for United and I think, right now, is he coming into a system that works? And is he able to kind of take the mantle of that number 9 and completely like move United up the table? I don't know. And then Gyokeres, meanwhile, I think Gyokeres, we know that he would have suited that system better because he's worked with Amorim before. And at the same time, for us, he's 27, he's coming in, so it was more of a statement signing than Sesko. I have a feeling a lot of people wouldn't have liked Sesko coming in because it would have had the kind of that idea of, here's another player that's coming in to fill the squad, rather than here's another player to raise the ceiling. And, it's horses for courses. Some people are going to like Havertz more. Some people are going to like Gyokeres more. I think for this game, upcoming, this Liverpool game, Havertz would have had quite a lot of benefits. But nevertheless, we don't have that option. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's quickly go on to another comment from Gunnar Millsy. They're refusing to sign to Arsenal because he was scared. Sorry, because he was scared of not getting ahead of Havertz was a massive red flag. And I mean, this is the thing. Like, I agree with you, Gunnar, because at the beginning I said the exact same. I think Clive as well said the same thing. But the longer I look at it, the more I go, but he's 21 and he's not really done a lot in his football career, if you know what I mean. He's had a good, great start to his football career, but he's more of a signing for like potentially what he can do in the future. Whereas if Gyokeres had the same kind of, I don't think I'm going to get in front of Havertz. So yeah, hang on a minute. You're one of the highest scoring players in world football. You're in the prime of your career now. Like, if you don't think you can come over, you shouldn't be making that move. Definitely not. And we shouldn't even be thinking about signing you. But a 21-year-old, like if we are buying, say, a 21-year-old left winger right now, a lot of people will be going, are they going to go in front of Martinelli and Trossard? Like, maybe. But if they've, a similar output to Sesko, you'd probably be thinking the same thing. Go, well, maybe we'll put him in, maybe they'll rotate. And that's the thing. It's all kind of, what's the word? Context. That's the word.
And also, signings aren't based on 2 games; they're based on 5 years. Like, I said this about Šeško loads, but if you sign Šeško, he's not going to be good enough to start for Arsenal right now, but he will probably be one of the best strikers in the world in 3 years. So it's like you take that risk sometimes, and sometimes you don't. Like, he would have to play right now
at United.
Well,
no, genuinely, do you think he will?
They've ruined all of them, didn't they? So, but he is a bigger talent than Højlund, like way bigger. Like, he's played way more than him in the top level. Like, Højlund literally played for 6 months and instantly was in this United team. I barely even watched much of Højlund. Like, I've known Šeško for years. Like,
and the fee.
Yeah, it's the same fee. They paid the same amount for both of them. It comes around about 2, which is crazy. Yep. Now he's going to he'll probably be great in Napoli. Like the Serie A champions. Like, they're a good team. Like, they're probably the best team in Italy.
They've got De Bruyne now, haven't they?
Yeah, you think, and I mean, some of the other players they got a mental. They got a weird ass team. I mean, last year they had Philip Billing on loan, and now he's back at Bournemouth, just winning the Serie A.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
But Zambo Aguisa is amazing. But their team is so weird. But like, yeah, I'm looking at that, and I'm like, he will thrive back in the Serie A now. He's got a little bit more experience. Like, I'm sure that's that confidence thing. And sometimes it is the thing with United. Like, a player could be good, but there is something about United. It's something about their fan base, their team. It's just a horrible place to be. Like, players crumble. We saw Pogba crumble there. Incredible footballer. And it just didn't work out. Like, I always feel like with United, I feel bad when players go there. It's completely their own fault. Like they get paid loads. Like it's not like, but I always think like that's maybe not the best decision. And I'm kind of thinking the same with Chelsea now. Like they're turning into it a little bit. If you're not that top 1%, I don't know. Some players it makes sense to go there, but I don't know. I wouldn't personally if I was a lot of others.
They'll start turning into stepping stones if they don't watch it, because they'll have more and more mercenaries going there for the money that just they're happy with that, and then they'll move on. Or yeah, we'll see. Right, enough of United. No one's here to talk about United. Let's be honest, but we can talk about Arsenal. Arsenal leads 5-0. I will take one of those this weekend. So let's go. XG 2.9 to 0.1. I mean, that shows really, doesn't it? The quality of chances. Shots 18 to 3. And then we've also got some of the more interesting ones. So a field tilt, 85%. Get extra points for that, do we? Hopefully. 16 zone, 14 touches, and 44 deep touches. Hallelujah. And it also says about progressive passes and the dribbles. Do you know what? I saw a stat. I haven't got it here. I think Madueke for that last game week had the most progressive dribbling in the whole league. So, like, it's quite nice to see that. I don't think he had the best game out on the left. But the one thing we kind of are aware that he'll do, he was doing and driving at defenders. So hopefully that'll put in good stead for the future. But what I want to show is this. That field tilt. Mate, like, was there any kind of period in that game where you went, oh, Leeds might, cause us some problems now? Because the whole time I was comfortable in that match. I was bored in that first kind of 30 minutes, but
I do think hindsight does change a lot of things. Like, obviously, it's quite well reported that I'm not like the greatest guy at watching every game when they actually happen. But I did actually watch this game because I had things to do after, so I couldn't I couldn't have time to watch it after. So I watched the game, and the first half an hour wasn't that great. Like, it's one of them things where we were struggling, too many touches on the ball, the tempo was off. I mean, Leeds had that really good header, which was the only save, I think, that actually happened in the entire game from both teams. I don't think their keeper made a save. I don't think Ryan made another one. And that was, like, clutch. Like, Gabriel completely misses the header, and they have a free header, and Ryan saves us there. And yet again, it's one of them moments where I was just thinking, like, what are we doing? Like, where is the quickness? Yeah. And eventually, like, the thing is, it's kind of difficult because we didn't break them down. We just scored a corner. Kind of, we were better in terms of getting Calafiori into the box and having chances, but that happened about 3 times. Other than that, we were just the same, boring, dire. Honestly, the ball dies at this right side. Like, it used to be the left side, but we give the ball down to this right and nothing happens. And like, I'm not gonna. It's all of them. Saka, is dribbling like not great. He couldn't really go past anyone. He's out wide, not really doing anything with it. Too passive. Odegaard, too many touches. Like Zubimendi was trying to help in the pockets, but they were still trying to learn each other. I felt like Gyokeres wasn't really coming over to this right, and I don't think he should do or have to sometimes. But even when he did, they just kind of felt passable to Saka instead. And I was getting so frustrated. But then, as soon as we got the corner, because we got the corner, the first one, from like that Calafiori move, he goes on the overlap, we play it, Madueke plays it quick into him. I still think as well to say, like, I actually think in the first half, Madueke, as much as like his control was clearly a problem, like he kept trying to control the ball, but it was awkward for him on his wrong foot and where the angles were. I did think he was trying, like he won the ball back a couple of times, won a few free kicks. He actually used the overlap way better than Saka does. Oh my, like that's my biggest concern about Saka is when we make White or anyone do this massive run and he just goes, nah, and it does nothing with it. And he does it all the time. And I'm like, just use him. You need to use him more. But Madueke, every time that option was there, he used him pretty much. And there's times he came inside. I felt like he was really trying. And they obviously, in the first half of that, the only way that Arsenal were getting anywhere in the box was this left-hand side. It was working way much better than the right. And it was all right. And, Gyokeres, we had that big chance early on through, we did that really good pressing. I think Zubimendi tackles the guy and then Gyokeres snatches at it.
Let's have a little look.
And that, I remember watching, because that was Gyokeres miss. Because I remember a lot of people like, what was this XG big increase from? It's because of that, because he And when I first watched it, I was like, fair enough. But then I watched it back and was like, yeah, he could get that on his other
See, I
foot.
was the other way round. During the match, I was, oh my God, like, how on earth have you missed that? And then watching it back, I thought, because he kind of like, he's off balance as it comes. Like, he should definitely do better, but I don't think he realizes how much time he's got. It's one of those things like my first big chance at home in front of the home crowd. Like, and I bet he's been told by so many people, like, Premier League's faster, like, defenders will be on you. And then suddenly his first chance he has at the Emirates, he's got acres of space and he's right in front of the keeper. Like, it's a crazy miss, really. But yeah, I think looking back in hindsight, for me, I thought it was a harder chance than I first thought. It's funny that you thought the other way around. Should we just go through the main events then? So that we had that one. Timber won the corner.
I mean, as soon as I saw that Rice delivery, I was like, I literally laughed. When we scored, I laughed because I thought, of course, we scored at a corner. I was like, I was on this team.
It's insane. His delivery now, surely he is like the best set piece passer in world football right now. He's got to be.
I mean, we were so heavily reliant on Saka for years. I think he's better. Like, Rice just does not mess them up at all. I was watching like many of the watch-along channels. I was watching like Mark Goldbridge and stuff. As soon as we get a corner, they're like, well, and it's like, I mean, it's a great corner, great cross, great header by Timber. People don't talk about Timber's like aerial ability, but he's one of our best headers, and I think he's behind Gabriel. Is probably the second best in our team. Like from start, he is so his leap is unreal. And when
because he's not big, is he?
No,
What's he?
he's like
5'10",
like 6 foot, like 5'11", somewhere around that ballpark. But his leap is unbelievable, and it's not the first time I've known this. Like when we played United in November, December, when Gabriel was out, he scored from the corner. That was Timber's first goal. And we beat him from 2 corners. We actually just completely used Timber as the Gabriel in that scenario, and that was because of his leap. And there was not even just from this corner goal that he scores in this. Like in this game, I think he won all his aerial duels, but there was many times we just loft the ball into him in high areas, and it absolutely outjumped them like so well and just win the header. Thought he was excellent. I think genuinely in the air, our team have improved a lot. Like everywhere. I think Calafiori in the air looks way better than they did last season. Timber has always been good, but now we're actually getting to see it. And I think Saliba looks a lot better in the air as well. Like obviously Gabriel. I mean, he's funny because he's probably missed that big header at the start when they nearly scored. But you don't worry about Gabriel. He's one of the best in the world. So I mean, we are dominant in the air at this point. So I mean, that was great. And then obviously after that, it broke up a little bit. Like. It's also like, it's quite funny because after the first goal, we were way more open. We got a little bit confident. We're like, we want to play a little bit good football. And also that coincides with Odegaard coming off injured, which like, I think Waneri played really well. Like, I think Waneri, some of his passes, some of his dribbling was like a bit off. But he tried. He got into good areas. He didn't take too. Like sometimes I would like go and release it. He didn't. But it only happened a few times when he'd already created the chance. So I'm a bit more lenient to like. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there a bit more than someone like Odegaard for the first engagement. But I felt like Waneri just really opened up the team. I felt like as well with Waneri in the team, it kind of made Rice more. Willing to go forward, Zubimendi more willing to help him. Maybe that's because he's younger, but I kind of felt like it worked a lot better.
Are you worried about him in the press at all? Because I feel that, especially as the game went on, Leeds were much poorer, to be fair. But I feel like his pressing suddenly improved. Like he was understanding. He's quite hesitant at times. Like he kind of looks across, reads the line, what's everyone else doing? Oh, now I'll jump. But he seemed way more proactive, which... I don't know. It bodes well if he has to play this weekend.
It's all about confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, like he's definitely got better, and it's nice to see him playing in central areas rather than out on the touchline and having to move in. I think it's a really good thing having him there. But yeah, are you worried about him pressing, or do you think that's just a case of confidence and time under tension?
I think his pressing has improved in the last 3 weeks already. Like, I think in the preseason, he played a lot more than Odegaard. I think he played the first 3 or 4 games, and I think it was to learn this. I think in
Yeah.
games against Leeds, it's never. I don't think it's ever going to be an issue. Like Leeds, Leicester, like when we played last year, like these sort of teams, it's like I think he's fine because I mean we spoke about Leeds in the preview, and I said to you they're not going to sit back and defend that much. They will go for it.
Mate, you hit the nail on the head with
And
that one.
Fark, literally, after I said that, Fark in the pre-conference, he literally said, well, we're going to play our way of football. And I was like, I know Fark. I know what this guy's like. I've known him for years. I know he's going to do this. And they did try and press us a little bit. They were a little bit restrained in early on, but they did try and at least like come at us. And they didn't sit in a low block like that much in the end, especially like later on. They kind of just gave up, it seemed like.
Yeah.
But with an area, I do worry a little bit in big games like Liverpool. I feel like the problem is Odegaard's like the one guy that runs the press, and I think Waneri can be a good contributor to the press, but he is no way in the position that he is in to run it. And I worry with like without a Saka, without Havertz, like who's going to run that press from the front? Like, is it Gyokeres? Is it like maybe you do something where you go right, Gyokeres, you just go aggressively at the centre back, and then we'll run with you when you run. So we'll wait for you to go first. You're the trigger, and then we'll go. Maybe that's something you have to do at the moment to kind of mitigate them factors. But I think like genuinely, like in these sort of games, is absolutely fine. And I felt like he was. I think in the Villarreal game, I didn't think he was brilliant in the press in the preseason, but I don't think we were good pressing anywhere. Like Norgard and Marino played, so it's not just on Waneri, like it's on everyone. It's a new team, but I think with Rice and Zubimendi there, he can be a lot more helpful. Also, by the way, like shout out Zubimendi in the press as well is like unreal, man. This guy is so. Like we talked about, like I think people like see him as this sort of like Busquets, like slower defender, sort of type of sitter back player. But he's really not being played as a sitter back. He is aggressive. He moves really quickly. Like in the forward areas, he was basically playing as a right central midfielder for the majority of the first half. Like he was in these pockets, rotating. There was a few times Rice came in, but it was much more like Rice, you stay back, you're the quarterback long passer. Zubimendi does all the tight, small passes a bit closer. And then if we get enough pressure, then Zuba can come back and be the blocker and be a lone six, if you like, and Rice can go up a bit. But I mean, Zubimendi was insane. Like I think he helped Waneri a lot. And ultimately, I like I said, like there's definitely a few moments where Waneri had space where I was like, oh, come on, you should be passing the ball through to the winger there. Like that's poor, final third. But I think he just offered a lot. Like I think Waneri helped us a lot. So I'm not like too worried if Waneri has to start. We'll get into it. I don't think he will start.
Yeah, definitely. The Saka goal, like that goal was so nice. Like an open play goal. Finally, Saka scoring with his wrong foot as well. I think people are being harsh on the keeper there because the angle it's at and exactly where it is, it's kind of like where his shoulder is. So I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. If it's towards Saka's left and the keeper's right a bit more, I'd understand. But where it is, it's kind of that dodgy area in between the head and the shoulder. It's a real hard place to kind of get up real quick. But that was a lovely goal. And then we've got the Gyokeres goal. Like at the time, right, Calafiori hit that ball, and in my head, I thought it was this beautiful pass. Like at first, like when it's like spare of the moment, you're like, oh, the ball's gone through. I thought, beautiful pass. Watching it back, it's such a shanked, like, it's like real high, kind of dodgy. His body's at the wrong angle. And to be fair to Gyokeres, he does all the work for that. And I did think at the time, like I knew what was in his head. Like he's going to drive, he's going to try and cut in, like because that's what he's done. And if anyone's even if you haven't watched Sporting, if you've watched some of Gyokeres's compilations, there's so many goals like that. Carbon copies. He's in that left channel, comes in on his right foot, and then hits it near post. Sometimes, obviously, he hits it far post, but nevertheless, I just wondered, is he going to be able to do that this time? And he does look quite awkward and almost like not off balance, but it doesn't look the most aesthetically pleasing like goal. But bloody hell, it's effective, isn't it? It's so effective. And it was really nice to go, okay, he's off the mark. He scored one of those goals. Could we please start putting the ball down that channel a bit more? Just ask questions of defenders and, stretch the game a little bit more. But Were you surprised of the goal, or were you kind of like, well,
I
seen
was
it
like, well,
before?
I did think if he was going to score, it would probably be a goal like that. But I did think like that. I will say I was very worried in the first half because it isn't just it. Like in some other games, I have been quite critical of the fact we haven't played him in. But I do think in that first half, his runs were very sporadic. Like he'd make good runs sometimes, and we didn't find him. And I'm like, Saka, what are you doing? But there's also times where the run was there and he didn't bother. And I said this in my video, which might be a little bit of like nitpick and analysis. But I said when I watch him, when he runs, a lot of the time he runs as like he kind of waits back post and then will make a run. Like as
Hmm.
he sometimes makes the run early, like we saw in the goal in pre-season, but it's very unlikely he does it really early when the ball's out wide. He'll do the runs early when it's more central, but when the ball's out wide, he kind of likes waiting to see what's going to happen and then going. And the problem for Arsenal is we don't have an initial runner. Like Madueke
Yep.
would stand next to Gyokeres behind him, and they're both kind of waiting at the same time. And it's not just a Gyokeres issue. That's been an issue for Arsenal for months and years. Like we've always had three players back post. Who's making your initial run to the front post to pull players away? No one. And I feel like if Gyokeres is going to work in this team from them wing positions, he has to make that initial run all the time, just generally. He might not even get the ball a lot of it, but it will open up maybe positions for the winger or the midfielder coming in. And that's kind of where I was a bit frustrated sometimes. I also felt like when he received, we kept having these sort of moments where he'd come deeper just outside the box with back to goal. And Zuba wanted to play it into him. But there's a moment, I think it's about 35 minutes into the game, maybe 40. We might have already scored at this point. It might just be before the first goal, where Zuba should play it into him to like let him turn. But he's worried because I think they tried 3 times earlier in this game, and like one of them he won a free kick, but I think 2 of them he couldn't turn and lost the ball. And I think
Yep.
instantly Zubimendi was like, I don't really want to do that because I think we're going to lose it. So that already that nerves were in there. So I was worried a little bit in terms of that. But I mean, like I was just like, please get this guy a goal. Like, this guy can score if you just get him enough shots. He hadn't had really that many. I don't even know if he had a shot in the first time. I don't think maybe he hadn't. I don't know, other than the slip. Yeah.
Possibly not. It was
Yeah.
like a game of two halves, though, wasn't it? It was like a Havertz half, that first half, and then like a Gyokeres half, the second half, as it opened up, like you said earlier. But there's definitely concerns with him. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, it's so refreshing having a player that's just different. And if he gets a chance, I'll be much more confident than I have been for the last couple of years. Like he's even Jesus, like when Jesus was fantastic, 1-on-1 a lot of the time, I was like, is this gonna get? Is he gonna get on target? Is going to be a P roller? Like what's going? So, yeah, I think Gyokeres was like he grew into the game.
It
Like
was
he grew
mental
into
as
the
well.
game.
Like when I was like sitting there, I was just like, all I want to see is him score. And then I genuinely, I don't, I think when he scored, I was so happy. Like genuinely, that was the most happiest I've been in such a long time watching anything. I was just genuinely like happy. I went out with my friends after the game, and everyone was just gassed because Gyokeres scored, like purely. And it's just like that moment. Like the goal is well taken. Like I think, yet again, like you said, I think in the second half, we were 2-0 up, so the freedom's there, but I think that there was much more incentive of let's play the ball into the channels, let's be quicker with it. And
Yeah.
who's the one player that's going to do that for our team? It's the guy that is chaotic. It's the guy that's mental. It's Ricardo Calafiori, man. This guy's incredible. And like, the goal is well by Gyokeres. Like people, like the first touch is a bit clunky, and I know JJ Ball from the Athletic said that was the reason he thinks he's not going to succeed at Arsenal because of that couple of 3 touches where he couldn't control it. But when he gets it into his control, like I watched it and I didn't imagine in that moment he would score. I knew he'd try and shoot, but I was like, I don't know, it's quite hard. But he goes past the play, takes 2 touches like inside, and then it's like a third extra touch he takes. And I don't think a lot of strikers would take that touch. I think they would just shoot. And that touch allows him to get the power that he can get. They can just smash it in. Also, as well, Calafiori has just made that pass, and he also makes the run to pull a player away.
Bombs it, doesn't he?
Yeah, to pull a player away, and he doesn't even get the ball, but that pulls someone away. Also, keeper can't see where the ball is. That guy's in the way, goes under them, goes in, and like super happy for Gyokeres. And I think after it as well, we talk about, I think after it he was great. Like there was a few times later on in the game where he was receiving the ball in these deeper, wide areas, holding on to it, being muscly, winning free kicks. He won that twice, I think, later on in the game. He was making consistent runs later on as well. Like when he was like running through these places, he was giving him options. So like the confidence was there, and that's what it is for Gyokeres. Like It's like I mean, Alex has said it like a lot. The different knock and like a lot of people have said it, but like as a footballer, Gyokeres is not a better footballer than Havertz or Jesus. He just isn't. But he is a goal scorer, and Arsenal don't need. Arsenal have our flashy, space creators, press players. We have all them. They're still there. I know Havertz is injured, but they are still there. And then if you just need that extra little bit, especially in games like this against Leeds, like we needed that, and Gyokeres was there for it. And I'm happy he took the pen personally. Like he is there to take pens. No messing about, no hiding from that. He's chasing Rice down. I don't think there was any consideration Max would have taken. I think it would have been Gyokeres anyway. But that's why he's there. He smashes it in and like.
And do you know what? I have no concern. I have no doubt that if Max gets more minutes, he will score this season. Like, I have no worries about that. I genuinely think he will be the youngest goal scorer in the Premier League. Like, I just can't see it any other way. And if he got a penalty, I'd be a bit like, oh, do you know what I mean? I can imagine
Nicola Pepe.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, if he misses a pen, the media online is just going to be horrendous. Like, I don't want to see that. So at the same time, for that reason, it's probably the best.
Also, he shoots. I think genuinely, Max Darwin might be the player that shoots the most in our squad. He shot twice in this game, I think. And then in every preseason game he came on, he shot like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
He loves the shot. Absolutely loves it. Like, he's going to shoot loads. I feel like it will come eventually. But obviously,
yeah, 100%.
Obviously, that Gyokeres goal was big, and then we obviously scored the 4th goal, which was a scrappy, awful defended goal, which Calafiori got the assist for. He'll take that. 2 goals and assist for him to start the season. Same with Timber. Our fullbacks are insane. And then,
I mean,
yeah.
Timber, like, I put out a tweet saying something like, Eze signs, and we've got the unveiling of him. We've got Max Dowman becoming the 2nd youngest Premiership player ever. Another Arsenal one, of course. We've got the goals from Gyokeres. You then get the injury to Saka. There's so many headlines in that game. It's a 5-0 game. And Timber is the best player on that pitch. His performance was unbelievable. So we're just so lucky.
And he's so underrated, by the way. So underrated. No one even cares about Timber outside of Arsenal. Like, I speak to my dad about this.
I reckon he's top 3 fullbacks in the world right now.
I think he's the best right back in the Prem by far. But it's
yeah,
so close. Yeah. And people like Reece James. Reece James is great, but like, it's because, yet again, people prioritise attacking play over defensive play, but he's a right back. He is the best.
And right now, attacking wise, he is,
and he's good.
His output is so good.
He's never even been bad going forward. He's just not like comparable to a Trent or a Ben White or that sort of player.
He's not glamorous in the way he does it.
Yeah,
he's just effective.
I mean, the assist in this game, effective, isn't it? One touch, controls it, great pass weight on it as well. And it's like, I mean, Timber's one of my favourite players. I think he's like one of them signs that when we made it, I think it kind of came out of nowhere when we signed him. I did not expect us to sign him that summer. But it was one of them signings where I was like, this is genuinely like what big clubs do. You buy great players like this. This guy will be amazing. And I haven't been surprised. He's an astonishing footballer. Like, and he's an option. Like, it's great. We don't have to play him every game now. So his knee pops out. We can rest him.
Fingers crossed. Well, I mean, Ben White at the moment doesn't look fit, but
it's fine. We'll put mascara in, so we've got.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Played,
we'll get on to the transfer.
Played there.
Yeah. Right. Let's go on the next part then. So, leads in quite nicely about the injury. Liverpool, Arsenal. Oh, it's the big one. So, Anfield away days. I've titled this little section. The last time we beat them was a 2-0 win. Oh, my God. And here's a lineup from there, just to take everyone back in memory lane. We've got an Olivier Giroud, who at the time I don't think had a beard. I think he's like clean shaven there. Podolski out on the left. My God. Oxlade-Chamberlain out on the right, who ended up then playing as a right wing back later on and all over the shop. Diaby, one of the few performances from Diaby. I think he got an assist in this one. Cazorla, goal scorer as well. Mikel Arteta. I don't know what he's doing now. What happened to Mikel Arteta?
It's one of them forgotten ones.
Yeah. Carl Jenkinson, legend at the club. Should have a statue. Kepa and Thomas Van
Baba Saka, woo!
Kieran Gibbs and Vito Manone
Vito
in goal.
Manone. We won with Vito Manone and Carl Jenkins.
Yeah, man. At Anfield as well.
This was This was Cazorla's debut. I remember this like vividly. This being Cazorla's debut, and he scored in it. And I remember being a whole thing because this is the summer we signed Giroud, Cazorla, Podolski. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good summer to be fair. In them days, I was like, they were all very good players for us. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. Like the problem is when I'm like I compare it to like some of the signings and seasons we've had. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm an old head. So I'm like, yeah, it was alright.
For me, growing up,
this was
like one of the best Arsenal like certain players.
That's
like
weird.
It's like till I was like 7, until like Sanchez really came there. I think Sané Cazorla was the best player I watched play for Arsenal over Ozil. I'm a bit of an Ozil hater, but I still think like genuinely like as I talk about Arsenal performances, I think Sané Cazorla was for 2 seasons. I mean, in his first Premier League season this year, he got like double digits goals and assists.
Yeah.
I
mean, he played out on the left quite a lot as well. I remember the first time I ever watched him live, I was at Old Trafford, and he came out on the pitch, and I'm not joking. I thought it was a mascot that was still on the pitch because he was so tiny, and I was going, someone needs to get that kid off. And then as he kind of turned, I went, oh my god, that's Santi Cazorla. He is actually tiny. Like he's way smaller than I thought.
I love short football players. They really need to rise up.
Oh, mate, the way he played the game as well, like the close control and that one moment, like Man City, where he just gets ball turns. Oh, just unbelievable player.
That game was unreal.
So, yeah, that was the team. But unfortunately, we're...
It's funny with Sterling in an Arsenal kit just on the Liverpool side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. But let's go for our lineups for this. I'll take us out of here a minute. And see if I can share. Are you in? Are you in the tactical pad, mate?
Oh yeah. There we go on it.
You in? Let's see. Can you move it around? Yeah, he's in. Okay, so what I've done, I've set up the Arsenal lineup like it was at the beginning of last week against Leeds. Players in grey for everyone at home are injured players, so that includes obviously the Liverpool ones at the top there. I've added Eze in this week. Yes, with the lovely number 10. And I've also changed us to blue because I reckon we're playing in the blue kit as much as everyone loves.
We've got to play it eventually.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think otherwise, do you know what? As I was doing it, I thought Adidas are going to be like, hang on, no one's buying this kit. It's a really nice kit. I love that kit. But at the moment, everyone is obsessed with that white kit. But we'll see. Maybe we play in the white one. So, right. Let's start with Odegaard. Is he fit? Is he going to play this game?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah, because like, if Odegaard wasn't going to play, surely they would have said something, right? No one said anything about him at all. Every time there's an update, no one's even mentioned his name. And I've heard that like he hasn't trained. Like I don't think he has trained, but that's never stopped Arsenal before. I think we'll probably decide tomorrow if he can play. So it's probably still at the moment of recording, like up in the air. But I just think like he will. I think they'll do what they need to make him play. He might not. He might not be fit enough, but
I think the same. But I have a feeling he might start on the bench. I'm trying to save it. I don't know. Like, it's hard because, do you know what? I would have loved if Arteta had put out saying, yeah, I think he's going to miss the game. And then just suddenly put him in. Just play some different mind games or something. Just do something. Okay, let's make him blue then. Let's make him blue because we think
it's just weird that like no one's mentioned him. I mean, I feel like no one's mentioned Ben White. It does look like he's still injured, but I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going on with half these players? Also, Norgard, by the way, this guy's like ever dependable at Brentford. He's injured.
I've been told he might be back.
Oh,
so I'm hoping, but right.
I mean, we have
let's go for it
now.
Gyokeres has to start. Agreed.
Yep.
We're pulling Saka out because obviously he doesn't look like he's going to be fit. Madueke out on the right. Agreed with that?
100%.
Yeah. I think the way he played against Leeds was really, really good. I also was looking at the way he played against Gyokeres last year, and he had a really good game. So I have a feeling that could be a really, really good outlet for us against Gyokeres. But there we go. Out on the left, who do you want? Fair enough.
I think it's happening. I can't see it not happening. There's been rumours that Eze has been like working hard, like really hard for the team to play. And I think it was pretty damning that Martinelli he didn't even come off the bench against Leeds at all. We brought on like Max Down on the right, and then Trossard came on, didn't he? And I think Trossard might not be fit for tomorrow. Apparently, it's like a concern. He might be a doubt. And in my eyes, that just means Wednesday's going to start then. And I also think if let's say in one weird world that Calafiori's not fit, then I think you play Martinelli. But I think it looks like Calafiori's okay. So I think this is what you do.
Are you happy with the rest of the team? Any changes? Yep. Calafiori playing instead of Miles?
Yep, it's a risk, but a risk I'm worth. I'd take. I would take over this point.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the team kind of picks itself at the end of the day. You don't change that centre back pairing. Timber, as we said, right now, best right back in the league. Don't take him out.
It's interesting to see what Liverpool will do, because I've done like quite a few videos on my second channel about Liverpool over the last couple of weeks. So I kind of like it quite informed with their team. And I feel like Dominic Szoboszlai, by the way, playing right back is not a surprise. Like he's covered. Well, we spoke about this like months ago, where he covered the right back position when Trent like ran away. But I feel like in terms of their midfield, I just don't know if this midfield really struggled physically against Newcastle. Like Gravenberch was okay. It was his first game back. I know he was suspended, but his first like pro game this season. He might play the Creature actually, but yeah, like I think physically Jones got kind of put out of place. I love Jones. I think Jones is great. Jones not being.
I like Jones.
Yeah, him not being in the England team makes no sense to me, but I have no idea what the guy's doing. But I just think against us, who else have they even got? Everyone's injured, aren't they? I mean, that is they might have to do this unless they. I mean, I think Bradley's fit, so unless they wanted,
I think he's fully fit. I think did he get a couple of minutes last week? I think.
Yeah, he came on. Unless this might be what they do. It might be a Szoboszlai, Gravenberch midfield, and then Bradley out on the right. Obviously, Bradley struggled against us last season, like against Trossard and Martinelli. He was pretty poor, I felt like, against them. But if I'm Liverpool, I take that risk. I think you need Szoboszlai in this midfield a little bit more to kind of stitch together the passes and cover. And I think one of the key points about Liverpool is this guy, because Wirtz, you can tell that he's just come into the Prem and he's not used to having like half a second less of time to like pass the ball away.
mean, to be fair to him, playing against Joe Linton, Tonali, that is a hard game. Like it's your second game.
Yeah, but even like Palace and Bournemouth, I don't think he. I think the best area of the pitch he is really good at is like here. This is like where he like is mainly in the play. Like, and the thing is with Hincapie, he mostly plays here as well. So what they do, you can see what they do here. Like you see how they play. You know, you keep Salah on an island, everyone else just goes to the left, and then they kind of move more into the center when they've got the ball. And even Gravenberch, he'll move like anywhere, but Salah is just on an island. Now, I want to say the key point of this game is this side, this Salah, Calafiori, Eze side, because what they're going to do is Salah will just stand up here. He won't be a part of the
he's
play.
Not going to come back.
So Arsenal need to risk stuff. They need to allow Calafiori to do his brilliant creative work and go like wherever he wants. Like he still needs to be able to do what he wants because that's what makes him so good. But that is going to be a risk. Also, one-on-one, Calafiori isn't great. It's one of his biggest weaknesses. So in order to maybe settle with that, you might just have to have Rice play a lot more passive in this game to help, I think. Because I don't think you want... Like, if you're going to play a Calafiori, there's no point in putting him sitting deeper. You might as well play a Miles if you're going to do that. So you need to get some good attack and work out of him. I do think... I mean, him playing a lot on the overlap would be very helpful as well with Eze coming inside. But I think that's going to be the most interesting point. Like, I think Salah's been poor this season. I know it's only 3 games, but he hasn't been great. He's been really widely out of the game in all of them. So if you can keep that way and kind of stop, especially like Gravenberch, if you stop Gravenberch progressing the ball, then it really is a problem for them. Because Wirtz, like I said, he's not really dictating games at the moment. He kind of like roams into these positions and kind of like stays a bit off it. So
I think, what you were saying with Ekitike is so right. And I mean, you look at how Ekitike's been playing, they're almost playing towards Ekitike's strengths rather than Wirtz's strengths. And I do worry when you've got a player of that quality, like surely you play through him, not around him, essentially. Like he's almost like a decoy at this point. Like, for me, completely agree. When the ball is down this side, this is where we're gonna, have problems. For me, I wonder, when the ball's coming into Salah from here, you're gonna have to come tight to him. I wonder if we do something like this, and it depends on Odegaard and his fitness. So please keep that in mind, everyone. I wonder if Odegaard comes out, if he's not fit, obviously. Rice comes into the right, Eze comes into the left, and then you play Martinelli. And I know he didn't get many minutes. He does have good games against Liverpool, to be fair to him. It's simply so you have got someone with more pace back here. Even Bradley or Szoboszlai, I don't really care which one it is there. So you are threatening those spaces here, and Eze can start coming inside as well. And I wonder if that starts causing them more problems. If we can jump, especially for like headers and things like that, area balls towards Salah, Calafiori wins, and then we jump, and we are all up. Like, so the whole of us. And that's going to cause big problems in this space for them. Like, Konate has not looked good, and we want him to be drifting out in these spaces as well, so Gyokeres has more space. But I wonder if that's something that we can look at. And Eze, by and large, has played in those zones anyway, so I'm not worried about him playing as a left eight, like alongside Zubimendi and Rice. That'll be fine. The only other thing is, does Arteta bring him out and then put Miles in to be a bit more conservative? I do wonder, but I think it's harsher in Calafiori if he does. I would understand it from a technical point of view, but Calafiori's been so good this this season, 2 games, but he has been so good. I would guess we'll probably go with what you said though.
I think I can't really see Miles playing at all, to be honest. I think the biggest issue in this game is when Salah receives the ball to his feet here, I kind of think that's game over, low-key. I think at that point, you're just mitigating, hopefully they don't score and get a good shot, because I just don't think Calafiori's a good enough one-on-one player to stop him. And like the problem is, the reason why Salah is so good is because your average instinct for a winger is to get tight to them, but Salah is one of the best wingers in the world at when players get tight to him, of rolling them, being able to go past them. And Calafiori in them situations is a struggle. But I just don't know. Like, Miles is a very good one-on-one defender, but he can be rash.
Mm-hmm.
And against one of the best wingers in the world, I just don't worry a little bit, especially because he hasn't played and he wasn't great in pre-season. So I just don't think that's going to be a threat that we're going to see. And obviously we'll talk about, certain players coming in, maybe, we'll see, which I think will kind of be the future. And I don't think you really want to put Miles back into left back if that isn't the plan. I mean, it doesn't matter like that much, but I think with what you said in terms of if Odegaard isn't going to play and a Martinelli comes in, I feel like there'll be more of an approach of like this that could happen. Like a 4-4-2 would be more likely, because I think in terms of how we press, that is a very important thing. But more importantly, if we can't press because Odegaard isn't going to be there, then there is going to have to be moments we sit off it a little bit. And I think this setup is better. I also think just generally how these two work, Rice and Zubimendi, they're not really like this. If anything, they're more like this, which we've seen this season. But even then, there's minutes where they change, but usually they're very close to each other. And as soon as they're close to each other, that reminds me exactly what Rice and Jorginho used to do. And I'm going to mention it because I'm obsessed with it. But oh my God, we're talking about a box midfield, because these two play so tight together. I don't see a reason why we can't do a box midfield. Now, in terms of the pressing, if this is our 4, that would be a worry. I worry a little bit about Martinelli and Gyokeres because they're more aggressive presses and short sprints rather than controlled. I'm going to take my time and figure out where the triggers are and go for the press in that way, like Odegaard. And I worry sometimes they could be way too aggressive, and Rice and Zubimendi are oh my God, we've got to cover all this area. They're calm down, guys. But I think in terms of this, I mean, arguably, you could have Eze. Eze's a very much more of a passive presser, though, so I don't know if I'd like him here. But at least you've got pace out wide here now, Madueke and Martinelli. And I will say the last big point I want to make on this game is that I'm actually not worried at all about Saka being in the team. And I've actually been quite critical of him recently because I've said to people that he is our best player. He has done so much for this club and he deserves like a little bit of like benefit of the doubt over other players. But he hasn't been good since his injury happened overall. Like, he's a decent player in the box, still an effective finisher. Like, we saw his goal, like, he can do that. But if I'd said to someone, name me one other thing he did in that game against Leeds, you'd struggle. There is not a lot going there.
Yeah.
His dribbling was bad. I get there's situations where, yet again, we talk about it with, where is he? We talk about it with Odegaard and we talk about it with Saka, with the fact he can't really do anything, especially when they get more players on them. And I get that's a big problem, but he just doesn't seem to have the burst to be able to go past players at the moment. Like, he's a bit hesitant and sometimes, and a lot of the time I feel like he isn't taking risks, you know. There's a few times where he'll even have, we talk about it like the overlap, not really Timber, but let's say, I mean, you talk about White, you talk about, where is he? Mascara loves the overlap. There's times where Saka won't use it and it annoys me so much. Like, use the overlap more. And
Yeah.
I think I just find it with Saka at the moment that, like, ultimately he is that guy that we want because he's probably the most reliable in front of goal in terms of creative work, especially like crosses and stuff. He's the best, and we still heavily rely on crosses at the end of the day. I just worry a lot, and I just think everyone saw Madueke play on the right wing for about 5 minutes, and I don't know if you remember that sprint he did in the box where there's like 4 players around him. He keeps the ball. He goes inside. And then you're thinking, oh, he probably just passed the ball off. And then he continues to, he like literally turns his body in the box and then runs at the other 2 and gets a cross in. I think he goes out for a corner. And I was like, Madueke is going to come in on this right-hand side. And all you're going to ask him to do, like some of the times, is be okay at pressing, which I have no issue with him on the right. I think he can do what Saka can in terms of the central pressing. Like, he works really hard off the ball, and I love that. But he can literally be this wider player, get to the byline, cross the ball in. Like, ultimately, Saka's crosses have also been pretty poor. So I don't think the difference is going to be that much. So
it gives us a natural cutback. Like, if he does go on the outside, I know he doesn't really like using his right foot that much, but it gives us the opportunity, like a better angle for that when he does go. It'll be interesting. Like, is there any world where we essentially, you know, if we go back to, let's go Eze out there, because I would presume that's who he will go with. Like, I mean, it'd be a real big shout if Arteta doesn't go with him. Let's bring Salah back here a minute. Is there any world where Odegaard just comes out and then we just put in Ethan Nwaneri? Like, for a game at Anfield.
It's only on fitness dependent. Like, I think even if that was, I don't really know actually. Like, I don't think Nwaneri would start because I think even then you would probably go for Eze Martinelli over that. But I just think maybe he worries about Eze's ability to know the press. But then he is more experienced and he is older than Nwaneri, despite being like less experienced in this team. If I was a manager and Odegaard isn't fit, I think he is fit, and we've said this, like, we think he's going to start. But let's say he isn't, hypothetically. I do think I'd just play Eze there and Martinelli on the right.
On the right?
On the left, sorry. Well, to be fair, this midfield is always changing, though. So, like, yeah, I mean, he can play here. But,
yeah,
like,
it's definitely
they're
more
not set
now.
positions. Like, I'm kind of looking at this midfield nowadays as like a proper 4-3-3, and they just move around. Like, I think if anything, yeah, this will be like the most like average positions that they would have in this sense. And I don't.
That's really interesting, isn't it? How it's changed, and it's not like a clear change, which is good. Like, I don't want everything to change completely, and we're stuck again. You know, we talked about tactical inflexibility earlier with Amorim. Like, it's nice that we don't seem to be like that. We seem to be making these changes, but really subtle changes during a match, during a game, and like, that's only going to get better as the season goes on.
It's interesting as well, because if say Odegaard is to play, I think this is more likely as well. It like changes it all around. Like, I think this helps so much. But even then, you expect in this situation to happen, you expect this to be more of a double pivot. Odegaard to be here, Eze to come inside, and then Calafiori to be the width.
Yeah.
and then play a back three like this, like that is a solid team. You know what the crazy thing is like when you look at this team in terms of the front three, and I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, we didn't have any of these front three in about 4 weeks ago, and now we're talking about Liverpool away, and they're all going to start. And we didn't have any of these options last season. These are all complete options we've got this year, and they're all good enough to play. And like, I think Eze starts. I think Eze as well. We talk about Madueke and Eze. I think ultimately they will both offer different things on each side. And I don't think it is a situation like Saka and Martinelli. We all know Saka's just way better than Martinelli, and Martinelli struggles to do some of the other things. So it just makes us quite right dependent just generally. But this makes us a lot more balanced. So much more balanced. Like Madueke is not as good as Saka, and Eze is like maybe a little bit better, you could say, as Madueke. But as a winger, I think they're very similar in terms of like quality, and they definitely offer different things. Madueke can come inside, but he's more likely going to be outside here and then come in inside these sort of areas. And Eze wants to be more here sort of area. So it like works really well in this certain sense. Like it's going to be risky, but I think if we're going to play a more counter-attacking approach, which I kind of hope we do play a more counter-attacking approach. I think if we press really aggressively, especially with Odegaard in the team, I think we can get some real joy out of pressing them really, really intently. But I think we don't want to make the game too chaotic because that's when Liverpool thrive. But there should be moments where we try to counter-attack quickly because we know they're going to leave 2 players back. I mean, even with a Bradley, like, they might just leave 2 players back. If we have a breakaway of Gyokeres, Madueke, and Eze, and you can say Odegaard might be that initial
which is
pass,
something we have not had at all. Like we have had no threat on the counter, whether it is through the release of our passes, the choice of our passes, or actually people able and willing to get on and in beyond. Like we've had no threats whatsoever, and now suddenly, even without essentially off, last year's front three, let's put it that way. Like suddenly we've got really good options there. Like the only thing that worries me is how they are gelling, because it's a big ask to suddenly have a front three we've never seen play together, and you're going up against the champions at their ground, and you're expecting them to, you know, essentially drown the other team in pressing at certain points. Like I don't think we can expect that, but we're going to show threat. And that's really nice. Like, it's really nice. Before we finish up this little round, predictions, mate. What do you reckon? Are we getting a win? Come on.
I see. When I talk long term, I'm very optimistic. But when I talk short term, I don't like being optimistic. So I'm just going to say like 1-1, 2-2 actually, because we drew 2-2.
I mean, I take
both
it
times last year.
Get like another game against the big six that we don't lose. Like I'm happy, and going to Anfield, like we said earlier. We haven't won in a long, long time, but do you know what? Like part of it could go anyway. Let's be honest, but I just have a feeling it might be like a 2-1.
We have to
just
play
have
better than United, though. Like it's just so both teams have been off, but like that's the thing with us. So I'm just still like, I feel like if we play to the best we can, we'll be fine. But that's trying to get to that level. Like hopefully, it's a massive game for a lot of these players. Like. I personally can't see Gyokeres scoring in these type of games, but there might be a lot of space for him. So we'll see. Like this might be one of the games that actually.
Wouldn't it be lovely though to just shut everyone up about this? Like this whole narrative, like he only scores against the small teams. Like, yeah, cool. Like that might carry on, that might not. Like you know, like Torres. I've seen Torres go from Liverpool to Chelsea, and it was like watching. Like Space Jam. Did you ever watch Space Jam? You probably watched the new one.
No, I know what it is.
But yeah, like just suddenly lost his powers when he went to Chelsea, and anything can happen. Like he might go to Liverpool and he might be their kryptonite. And people forget, like he did against City. It's not like he can't score against a big team. So there we go. Yeah, I'm going with 2-1, mate. I'm going to be positive. Right, let's go on our next part. So next little section, we've got kind of leading on from the players that we've got in now to kind of there's this narrative going on about Arteta and the amount that he spent. So this summer not included, Arteta had spent €778 million euros. I'm going to put that out there from Transfermarkt. Euros, not pounds. Meanwhile, Emery spent 430. Guardiola spent 392 in terms of managers that, since they last won a trophy. Can we just quickly mention that Guardiola has not had to spend much money because his squad was absolutely unbelievable. When you've got a squad that's like, constantly winning trophies, like surprise, surprise. I just think that's crazy. Anyway, biggest spending managers since last winning a major trophy this summer included. We are now at 1 billion euros.
Woo!
Whoop, 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 whoop. I mean, right. We're going to play good side, bad side a minute. All right. Do you want to do the good things about this or the bad things about this, mate?
I don't know. Like, I don't feel strongly about either way, to be honest.
I'm going to go with the good things because I'm going to be positive about the Crunkies for once, and I've never done that. I hate them. So here we go. They've actually put the money where the mouth is. And there's no denying that now. There are other clubs that have spent more money than us, and we don't make much from sales. We all know that. But we're actually acting like a big club, especially this summer. For us to go out and buy multiple signings, albeit a lot of them were like a necessity due to the fact we did no business prior. They've actually gone out and got a lot of players. And I just didn't expect us to do that. So for me, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's positive as a fan to see that we are spending money. But give me a bad one. Go on, mate.
The thing is, I'm going to be honest, with my opinions about this. These stats are pointless. These stats don't mean anything.
I was waiting for it. I'm so glad.
Biggest spenders, man, since you've last won. Well, yeah, because we haven't won anything in such a long time. We're an elite club. We're one of the best clubs in the world. We just got to the Champions League semi-final. Ultimately, the things I have a problem with Arsenal, obviously, is getting over the edge and stuff. But it's not about necessarily spending money just means that. It's this is the same argument, the net spend, and I hate net spend. I hate it. It's such a dumb way of looking at football because when are you starting net spend from? Because unless it's from the beginning of time and clubs existed in the 1800s, it's a pointless stat. Man City, if you go, oh yeah, well net spend in the last 5 years, well Man City had assets to sell that they spent money on before the 5 years. This is the problem. We had nothing 5 years ago when Arteta came in, absolutely nothing. Did any of them players who was the player we sold for the most? Like Hincapie was the only one. Ramsdale he bought, so barely anyone basically. And we've had no one. And yes, the sales are bad. There's a good Athletic article about why the sales are bad. And it's just ultimately, I think we rely a lot on international markets, and international teams don't have as much money as us, and can't pay the wages.
Yep.
So unless they're English, it seems quite hard that a lot of these players are going to go to Prem teams. So it's just one of those situations where it's yes, we've spent a lot of money. It's so comparable to Tottenham, City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea though. That's where we should be compared to. Newcastle. We shouldn't be compared to other teams. And yes, Arteta hasn't won a trophy. That is his failure, and that is a failure of the club at the moment at this point in time. But we're trying to win the Premier League. We're trying to win the Champions League and stuff. We just got to the second place in the Prem 3 times in a row.
Well, this is the thing. I have no doubt if we were in the Conference League or the Europa League with this team, that we would win it. That's unquestionable. I guess some people would argue if you want to beat me with a stick, you go, well, we haven't won the FA Cup and the League Cup. But the quality of the opposition throughout is so much lower. So yeah, of course, there are going to be other teams like Tottenham that are going to, get far in there. But the Champions League is a completely different kettle of fish.
The biggest thing with this is what is the quality of the teams? Because I don't divide quality depending on trophies won. Oh, so you're telling me West Ham are a better team than Atletico Madrid because they won a trophy more recently? No, they're just not. And it's like Tottenham. fair enough they won the Europa League last year, and for Tottenham's sake, for their fans and their club, winning a trophy mattered more than anything else, to be fair. And I kind of think we're at that situation as well. Like, if we came fifth but won the Champions League, people would be frustrated, but I think people would be fine in the end. I think they'd be like, well, we won the Euro. But like, I think given the situation, like, we are a very competitive team with the money we've spent. It's not like we've spent money for no reason and we're just awful, like United, who've spent all this amount of money. United spent more than us up until this summer, and they're not even comparable to us, like, as a team. Like, the same Tottenham has spent a lot of money. You look at their attack. Tottenham's attack was worth 400 mil, and ours was worth, like, nothing. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you look at these differences, and then you're like, that's where it matters. Yes, we haven't won a trophy, but cup competitions are widely dependent on luck and their quality. And we are just a way better team than these teams. And that's all I care about. Like, you know, if you're better and you keep doing your work, you will eventually get what you deserve. Like, maybe you won't, and maybe you get unlucky, but the outcome and the hope is that you will. You know, you don't think if you're Tottenham, if we spend 300 mil on just awful players, oh, hopefully we'll fall into a Europa League win. Like, in a poor year, because, oh, suddenly they changed the rules and Champions League teams can't come down.
I know, exactly.
It's just too many.
The thing that annoys me is, right, I've said it for a long, long time. Like, to be fair, I think the Europa League should just be for Europa League teams. I also think if you don't want domestic cups to die, I think the Cup Winners' Cup was a brilliant idea. You have all of the different, you'd have such an array of teams. You'd have some like really, really established teams. You'd have some random teams like Crystal Palace. Like, it would be really nice, and it would bring domestic cups back. But in terms of the Europa League, I've said it so many times, the Europa League is promotion. That's all it is. It's promotion. You've won promotion. Brilliant. Now you get to play in the top league. You get to play in the Champions League. That's what it is. Like, they should just give them a wooden spoon and say, well done, boys. Good luck next year against the big dogs. Because I just don't value that. And I understand it's context, because people will say, well, you know, a trophy's a trophy, but and especially to a team like a West Ham winning the Conference League, or a team like Tottenham, who haven't seen them win a league since black and white television. Like, I understand it in context, but to me, it's nothing. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but there we go.
The journey's important as well. Like, I always think, like, what am I going to do for content after we win the league? Like, it's going to be done. It's game over.
Don't want to think about how much more we have. Oh, sorry, it's just suddenly disappeared. Why has it just gone on 10 seconds? Let's go that again. Don't want to think about how much more we had to spend if we didn't have Hale End. True. How could we have found a Saka or the other players that have helped us to where we are now? I mean, God, where would we be?
Our Hale End is so weird, isn't it? Like, Liverpool and all these other academies have like very, very good talents coming through all the time, where they can resell them for 10 to 15 mil. We barely have any, but every talent we do have come through is like world-class level talent.
Unbelievable.
Like it is annoying, because sometimes I do wish, like, to make the club better, we do need some sellable assets, but we just don't. Mm-hmm. Maybe I think as well I do think Arsenal's Hale End is a little bit too lovey-dovey. I think Reece Nelson still being at the club kind of shows that. Like, he should have been gone 4 years ago, but like, yeah, I think that's a great example. We did actually. We'll go on to it in the next section. I don't know if we're starting the section now, but there was some news 22 minutes ago that we might have to talk about.
We'll come on to that in a minute, because I do want to say, in terms of because while we're on Hale End and the amount that we've spent, let me bring it back up over here.
Because it's it's that graphic of like, we've spent 700 mil, but we've got like over $1 billion in value, and that's like the most in the Prem.
Yeah, this is it here. So yeah, we've had 315, almost 316 million like profit in terms of like value. The problem is we would sell most of our players for about 5 million, or let them go on a free. So there we go. And then you look at, Brighton again. Excellent. The way they sell, the way they buy is unbelievable. Their scouting is ridiculous. Man City, again, the value they buy in these players, And then because they're winning everything, their value goes up. And meanwhile, go and look at Chelsea and Man United. Because this is the problem, and it's all in context. You know, Chelsea have won nothing in terms of Club World Cup. They've got no league winners in that. 1.1 billion, and now the squad value is 769 million. That's 300. It's just crazy with United and Chelsea. The way they're spending and the way they're doing it. That you said it about them earlier. It is mad. And to think that we've gotten these players this summer is unbelievable.
It is different strategies as well. Like I will say, out of all these teams, I'm looking at some of the ones that are a negative, and there's actually a lot of strategy there from some of these teams. Like Chelsea, Bournemouth, and Spurs have strategy that has kind of made this happen. West Ham and United just got the worst talent idea I've ever seen in the Premier League history. Them two teams have no clue who they're signing. But like with Chelsea, they just buy everyone, and then like the top 1% even make it at Chelsea, or they sell for profit, and then everyone else just gets thrown away, and they don't particularly care because they only lose about 5 mil on each one. Like Bournemouth, it's like right now their value is like less, but obviously they've got a lot of young players they probably had to overpay for. And we've seen what they're like when 1 year they got like 200 million transfer value this year. So I'm sure they'll develop them and make them great as well. So it's so interesting how it works. Like United, I genuinely don't know. If you put me in that job, I would do no way near as bad as that. Like, even at 18 years old, I wouldn't do as bad as that. I just wouldn't. I can't. I just don't understand how you can be that bad. And I don't know if you've seen the Gary Neville clip. He's talking on his show where they have dinner and stuff. And he was saying that he went to someone that worked at United like years ago and said that, oh, have you seen David Raya at Brentford? You know, you should
Yeah, I
look at him.
did see that.
And he was like, no, he's not good with his feet. And he was like, well, no, but I think he's pretty good at shot stopping and catching the ball. And they were like, nah, he's not good with his feet, so we're not going to bother. And I was like, well, one, he's actually very good on his feet. And two, like, I mean, also, that doesn't always matter. Like, yeah, like even what Gary Neville was saying in that clip, he's like, well, yeah, but if he's good at coming out and catching the ball and being strong, like, you know, are you going to worry?
The problem is that, like, Gary Neville, ironically, was the guy who was like, Arsenal got no clue. Their transfer policies, like, a shambles. And that's when we brought in, like, Ben White, Tommy Yasu. Like, it was actually, like, a real clear idea. We're going to get players who can play multiple positions, who are young, who have definitely got upside and are going to get better. And we're not going to spend ridiculous amounts of money on, like, one position because financially, we have to be way more fiscal than a United. And lo and behold, they have just, like some of the signings that these clubs make, instantly the value of the players goes down. Like, and I know you have to do that sometimes. So say, I guess like an Isak, if you are spending 130, 140 million on him, his value will go down. Like, it's not really going to go up. It's very hard for players to go up from there. What's the new Newcastle lad called? Who's looks like he's going to be 70 million euros? Is it?
Like, yeah, I'm sorry, but 80 million euros. Yeah.
Before he kicks a ball, that value will go down. He has got to hit the ground running and do very well for them to get real value of that. Like,
thing is though, like if he isn't good for like 2 months, which I don't think he will be good for the first couple of months. Like, they've got time. He is quite young. With him, at least. Yeah, true. With like anyone past the age of 25, it's like, sorry guys, that value is probably not going to ever come back to you unless you have some random ass like spike like Salah did like later in his career. Yeah, but yeah, it is just like, it is a losing game. Like ultimately, like you can sign a good player and still lose value on them. But it depends how much value you think you get out of that player playing for your club. Like, I mean, we're talking about Kivior one, but like, yeah, like the fee is like not great, but also like it's about the same amount of money as we paid for him. He gave us a lot for the team. So ultimately, it's like, did we actually lose anything? We had a good player for a couple of years. He came in and helped. Now he's gone. We kind of gave him the transfer he wanted. So it kind of works for all parties. Is it the perfect thing? Would we want more money? Yes, like that is true. But I'm not like crying about it, you know. Like I'm
not too worried. If we're not making a loss on it, then it's not horrendous. But we should be selling him for more. I'll just wait until see what the actual numbers are when it's done.
Well, yeah, well, because it seems like,
and I think they're deferring it, aren't they? It's going to be a loan and then a buy. So it's deferred at the same time as Hincapie, which we'll probably get onto in a minute. So then, financially, it's in the new annual year. So
But
there we go.
it's like 90 million euros, but then it's also like it's got a sell-on clause, which is like nearly half of it. That's like it's like a 7 mil sell-on clause, which like we can get that money at any time. Like if you now sell, because you can
Yep.
just like buy, we can just take it off them. But also like that's there to make it like 24 mil, and then like it may be even more incentives to make up to 30. But I will say, like before we talk about all that, like you know, all summer, I've been so uber positive about Arsenal's transfer window, about how I think that we're going to have a good window. We're going to sign a lot of players and we need to. And yes, I was a bit worried, I think, in terms of in certain aspects. I weren't that worried about Madueke because I still believe we were going to get another forward in. I was worried with Eze going to Tottenham. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I still felt like we had an idea of something we wanted to do in this window. And like literally, like Arsenal fans specifically are very fickle compared to like many fan groups. Like a lot of fans are, and I get that. But in this industry, in this scene, like it is more than I feel like a lot of others. And oh my god, what was it, a week and a half ago, I was seeing so many quote tweets being like, we didn't even have an unprecedented summer. They should all leave. Oh, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, it's actually been a good time. It's like, bro, it's so fickle. I said, literally, when we signed Madueke, I was one of the only calm heads about it. And I said, let's review the window at the end of the window. Let's wait.
I remember us having that conversation on here.
Everyone was like freaking out. And I was like, let's wait. I said in my videos, let's wait. And then now we're near the end of the window, with a couple of days left. I'm talking to loads of Arsenal fans, and they're like, we've had a great window. And I'm like, it's just all it takes is some patience, It's like patience is all it's needed.
And I mean, especially, well, we'll come on to it in a minute. I'll hold on. I'll hold on. I mean, Arteta's top 10 signings. Are there any, like, I mean, I would say none of them right now have been a flop. Like, I get people will want to say Kai Havertz has been too much, and I think with the wages, on balance, it probably is too much, but he was an absolute necessity. And
he's also Arteta's guy, isn't he? Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. So I think in the grand scheme of things, like, you look at some of the transfers now, like the money is going up and up and up in terms of average. Noni Madueke, like 50 mil, like he shouldn't be that much money, but you look at the market currently for wingers, and lo and behold, we are gonna need him now desperately.
And the wages make that deal like. These deals aren't really comparable as well. Like Ben White, at the time we signed him, 50 was a lot of money. He played 1 year in the Prem, and we bought him for 50 mil. And even then, like Ben White's been an incredible player for Arsenal, but he's not guaranteed starter. He's not guaranteed to stay fit. Like, I mean, that's not his fault, I don't think, through like Tomiyasu and stuff. We've made him like this full overlapping fullback option. Like, he's not really, like, we played Timber over him, and Timber was cheaper. Like, I don't know if Ben White was like the most value for money signing we're ever going to get, but it's another option, and he's still a good player, so it's calm. Like, Madueke out of all of these is probably the cheapest because his wages are probably less than all of theirs. But
yeah, that's so funny.
Also, as well, like that is the winger market. Like every single player. I mean, not even the winger market. The Premier League market right now is working at a 50% increase rate. So if you're a Bundesliga club and you want to buy a La Liga player, which never happens, but if you did, it would be about 20 mil if that's his proud value. In the Prem, if you wanted to buy that same player, it'd be 45. It just has to be. They know, every team in Europe knows how much money these Prem teams have, and they're not letting them do anything. So it's the same thing. Why I think this is why it's been so hard to get some chances over the line, like Šeško, like a Gyokeres. I think these clubs know, and they know how to scam us. So you're going to see it a lot. I mean, I wonder if it will crash. Like a lot of people think it will crash a lot. Eventually, you'd think, but like if we are just making revenue-wise, the Premier League making so much more than these other leagues, like how are they going to keep up?
That's a good question, mate. No idea. Jesus flop
in terms of like as a signing, as we signed him, like no, but in considering the injuries, yeah, like. I wouldn't say like, oh, it was a mistake signing him because you can't foresee the injuries happening in the way they have. But I would say like, if you look at the deal overall, have we got our value for that? Then I wouldn't say we have. And it's also like, out of all these deals, funny enough, one of the most expensive deals out of all of these is number 9. Party we had to pay 45 mil up front on one day and pay him like 250k or 200k a week wages, which is a lot of money. That's way more money than a lot of these players are on, with installments, in different bonuses, and like ways they work with their transfer. We had to pay because we panic bought him. Like, it wasn't going to come in. Like, we've seen the interviews of him going, well, we weren't even going to go. We were going to re-sign with Atleti. And then a day later, Arsenal went in and they bought him like that. And like, that deal is expensive. Like, Partey was a good player for Arsenal for a couple of years, but I only feel like we got 18 good months out of him. I felt like after that, his injury record was poor. I think he was worse than a lot of people think he is. And I just think, like, I don't know.
I'd agree with that.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. 18 months is not a lot, like, for that amount of money.
No, I don't really look at any of them and go, oh, glaring mistake, which is really, really good. Like the Jesus one, for me, I look at it and I think to myself, 45 million, would we be here now where we are if we didn't get him at that point? And I don't think we would be. We'd be so much further behind. He was a real, like, he was a statement signing. He was part of the reason that Emirates itself changed in terms of like the atmosphere around the Emirates and the outlook of people, and the way we played. He was integral to it. I just can't see us being where we are now without him. And I think for 45 million, yes, the wages were high, and yes, like the injuries haven't been great. But you know, these things happen. So I don't think he's come in and been like an absolute.
I think
disaster.
the only signing from like when I look at it when we signed him, which was probably a mistake, is still Partey. I just think like we spent like 50 mil on like a 28-year-old.
Who would we have got in though? That's the problem.
Well, that shouldn't be devolved on the transfer itself.
True.
Like, the club should make decisions around other players. It's like the same as like we almost signed Douglas Luiz on transfer deadline day, and like at the time I was like, yeah, just get anyone in, get one in. But then when you take it in hindsight, you're like, that would have been an awful signing. Douglas Luiz is a crap player. He's awful. Like, he wouldn't have helped us at all, and he'd be stuck in our team right now in the reserves, not playing. Like,
yeah, the real purple patch, didn't he?
But this purple patch was just derived on goal scoring. He's a DM. He couldn't defend. He couldn't track plays. Like, I talked to so many analysts, and they're like, listen, don't look at his pens. Don't look at the goals he's scoring corners. Watch him, and he's just not that good. And I watched him. I was like, yeah, he's just not. Like, and I think sometimes people get so caught up with like, they look at things and they go like, oh, but this guy's got loads of goals, or this guy does that going forward. But that's not what his role is. So who cares? Like, I think sometimes with Arsenal and sometimes with it's not Arsenal, we're actually quite good at this, but teams get so caught up with like panic buying at the last minute. Like, Nicola Pepe was a great player, but he obviously, I think Nicola Pepe got a bit screwed over by the fact that he's not an Arteta winger. And I also think because of the Premier League, like, dribbly slow wingers don't work. Jadon Sancho, great example. He's very similar in terms of style, just isn't going to work in this league. He's too slow. I worried a little bit about that with Pepe, in terms of him not getting the space to do that. But I do think like Pepe for that money was crazy. It was an overspend, but he's still a good player. And I could be like, oh, you know, he's young. He makes sense. He could have still developed. Like, you know, even though we overspent by loads, I understand the risk to an extent. Some of these players you don't like. There is 5 million midfielders out there. You could buy a midfielder from Liga 1 for about 10 mil, and I'm sure they'll be good. There's loads. They're all across the Prem. Like, I'm sure you'll figure one out. Like I look at some of our players, and I'm like, remember Guendouzi? I genuinely think Douglas Luiz at Arsenal would have been maybe a little bit better than Guendouzi. And Guendouzi was a fine player for a bit, and then his attitude problems came in. But it's just like, you know, none of us look at Guendouzi and go, wow, that was a great player. I'm glad we had him. Like, no one cares. Like, and I think like sometimes you look at signings and they are like the shiny new toy a little bit. And I just think like, you know, you need to. It's like United signing Gyokeres is a brilliant example. He's always been bad. He's a good tackler, and that's it. So why did they sign him? Oh, I don't know. He looks cool. He played for PSG.
Yeah, that whole move is just crazy. Right, let's go on the next thing then. Actually, before we go, actually, look at the first team under 18s combined values, and that's not currently. That doesn't include Dowman either. Which is just mental.
We didn't really speak about Dowman, to be fair. Like with him coming on, obviously it's so funny because we said on the podcast last week, I said clearly, I said Max Down should be on the bench, and if we're winning, we should bring him on. And when I saw him on the bench,
I
I
don't
was
think you
like,
did say that.
I remember I actually made a point to say something. He went and mentioned, and I was so happy when he came on. And I was like, I knew this would happen. I knew he'd put him on the bench because I just had a feeling the injuries that was reported at the
What
time.
a performance as well.
I also like how we pass it to him every single time. We gave him that space, and like,
Yep.
I mean, it's so weird because obviously, like, me and my Arsenal friends all know who Max Dowman is, so they were watching him in the pub and they're like laughing, "Oh, it's Max Dowman." But I was watching like Mark Goldbridge, and he's like, obviously, you forget that like people who are not in this Arsenal scene won't know everything about a club, which is absolutely fine. And I watched Mark Goldbridge, and he's like, "How old's this kid?" And the chat's like, "Oh, it's he's 15." He's like, 15. He's 50. It's so funny. And I was like, all these people are now starting to realize like who this guy is, like the mainstream audience. And it was like, I was just like, wow, this guy on a pen. He played half an hour though in the second game of the season. Like this isn't some April, 1 minute gameplay. Like
I mean, the game state obviously lent itself to him, but
even him he is our third choice right winger. Even him being on the bench itself, like. When Saka came off injured and Odegaard, you can tell we were like, right, anyone that might get injured who's important, get off. Like Canna, Fiore, respectfully, mate, we can't trust you, get off. Like Madueke, we need you, get off. And then, you know, he could have easily moved things around. Martinelli on the left or Martinelli on the right, if instance, and done something like that. But no, he brought back Son for half an hour at 15 years old. I mean... I can't lie. This guy might be the truth. He might be better than the ones we have.
I mean, Stu's bit here about time Hellhen started producing some talent. Ashley Cole and Saka. I mean, yeah. To be fair, they probably are because a lot of the other players that people kind of go to, like a Saska or a Walcott, they're not Hellhen talents. The closest thing we've had to a Hellhen talent between. Oh, horrendous. So Nelson, I mean, Emil Smith-Rowe wasn't bad, but he wasn't at our, at our level now. Here's some. Iwobi. Just Iwobi. Like now, to be fair to him, he's like really, really grown as a player. But I just remember at the time being like, why is everyone saying about him? I just couldn't see it. Not like at the top level. And that's where Arsenal should be looking for. But yeah.
It is tough in London, crazy. Isn't it? Like, there's so much politics that go on between youth academies. Like, kids are getting bought at 30 years of age to Chelsea or like Man City, and they're buying each other from each other's academies. Like, the old dodgy old slip to we'll give you some incentives to come. I was talking about this earlier, but it's the same with how unis work with scholarships. It's like, we want you to come to our uni, we'll pay you. And I was like, well, this uni's better. And but we'll give you some, cash on the side, or we'll do this for you, or we'll put you in this class or whatever. Like there's incentives that there's so much like politics around it. I'd be so interested to see more of it, like, and see how it works and stuff, because I find it really interesting. But I think like having a proper like youth approach, like a modern youth approach, was something we were missing. We talk about we talk about how Arsenal have been structured with David Dean and then Wenger. We were just very old fashioned. But obviously bringing in the fact that obviously that's all changed now, and Perma Saka deserves a huge immense of credit. Like, everyone behind the scenes says he's done like wonders. I mean, he's a great guy. Like, I think that helps.
It's so hard though, because as much as and rightfully so, they deserve credit. Even Jack Wilshere, like, I've heard he's got a real good relationship with the Dowman family, and they were really upset that he was leaving the club, and then he was kind of coming back, and then he's decided not to. But at the end of the day, you can only do as much as the quality that you have will allow you to. It's like winning the league. Like, you can be Pep Guardiola, but if you've got like really poor players, he's never going to win the league. So we were just very, very lucky. There's definitely something going right at the moment, because even players that have left, like Aiden Heaven, like very good player, Cheeto, a wonderful player. There's been so many players that have come through at this one point, and it seems like we go in stages. The only academies I can think of that constantly produce worldwide would be Barca's, obviously, La Masia, Ajax, They're the two that I kind of look at. I mean, I'm sure there's others.
It's just different
But
though, isn't it? Like it isn't. I don't think I think youth academy is a lot less dependent on just random talents. Like I think it's a lot more than that. Like I think, like for instance, like you have to have a good resume. Chelsea have a good resume of good youngsters.
yeah,
So any youngster in London, if they get offers from Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, they're all going to pick Chelsea just because they see it more over the last 20 years. I know now you could argue, well, Arsenal have that, but we hadn't for ages. And also, there's like so much into it. Like we are in a city of like 20 professional clubs, probably. It might even be more of London. I don't even know. There's loads. Like Barcelona, it's them and Espanyol. Like they're running that respectively. Like they can just do what they want and bully other clubs. Like Ajax can bully the entire of Amsterdam in pretty much the entire Netherlands. I don't think we have that sort of.
yeah, it's true.
And I
mean,
think now we can a little bit. That's why it's been a bit better in terms.
Stu's put a really good point here because I was going to say this when I said about Barca and Ajax. So he said it's still on the coaches. Maybe Arteta's implementing a Spanish strategy. Pep, Arteta, Unai, Iriola. Oh my gosh, can't get my words out. All strolling the EPL with a proper philosophy. And I do wonder, like, because Barca and Ajax have like a true philosophy. So everyone that comes through, like, like, there's certain players you will see and you won't know that they've been at those academies and you'll go, hang on, have they been? And you can kind of pick them out over time, regardless if you know who the player is. And I do wonder if like that's part of it. There's got to be some reason, but nevertheless,
that's
like,
more of a culture thing, though. Like that's not even just an academy thing. That's more of a country thing. Like Spain have footballers that are great off the ball and runners. Like not even in just Barcelona's academy, but across the whole country.
Dutch,
like
total football.
Total football. Like very good with their feet. You know, good at being solid physically.
British
like,
long balls.
Like we don't have that identity. I know now we do, and I think because yet again, commercially, the Premier League is more money than any other league. That you have seen the youth football get bullied, like like that's why all these great talents are everywhere. But I think like I don't know, there's a lot into it. I think than just like small things. I think it's quite hard to like I don't know all the ins and outs, but I think it's I think like we've clearly changed our club approach. Maybe some of these talents do help, but we've also got to develop them, you know, and help them a lot.
I'd also say as well, like, I remember a couple of years ago, people getting really annoyed about Arteta not playing youngsters. But he was not afforded the opportunity to a lot of the time. Like, if you are in a position where you, at the time, like really good, going for the top four, and you've got City and Liverpool by far and away, you know, the two best clubs in the country, two of the best in the whole of Europe. How are you going to be able to turn to, you know, your fan base and to your ownership and say, oh yeah, sorry, I'm not playing these players, I'm putting in loads of youngsters? Like, that's a hell of a statement to do. But we're in a place where you have got real good established players, and if you're 5-0 up, you can take a couple off and you can put one of your youngsters on. You know, like, that's the other thing. And like Cesc Fabregas, when he came through, he was surrounded by the best players in the world. Like, that's the way it was. United, the class of 92 is it? They were surrounded by unbelievable players. So I think it all depends as well. Like, you can't just bring players in and just expect them to do amazing. That doesn't work. There's got to be the right circumstances. So, I mean, we're really lucky. But
I mean, youth development's hard though. Like in terms of like, it's like, you know, having a child. Like I haven't had one, but I'm sure you would know. Like it, you know, it's hard to necessarily grow people in certain ways. You know, like. It's not tried and trusted. Like at 12 years old, like even if you get the best scouts in the world, they're not gonna know every 12-year-old's gonna turn into like a good talent. Like maybe the world-class talents, like people spoke about Max Winery, like you can probably tell, but you know you're not gonna be able to tell someone like, I don't know, like a mid player that can become really good. You just won't know sometimes. Like this is why, like, you know, Reece went to different academies, Eze did. I mean, the guy that scored the winner for Liverpool, who I also have mentioned like insanely low, so I'm not
we had him down, didn't we, as one of our players.
And like he's not a Liverpool academy product, he's a Chelsea, he's from Cobham, you know. Liverpool bought him last year, like a whole big thing that was because Chelsea weren't going to give him the project to go. So it's just so much into it. But yeah, like I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt fully to our club, but I think it's a lot harder than like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
willing
100%.
to leave it a bit.
Now I had some slides ready, so I'm going to put these slides up anyway. All right, we might as well. And here we go. So Arsenal agreed 27 mil euros. Jakub Kivior transfer after getting Hincapie deal back on track. I don't know why I said back on track, like it ever went anywhere. It's just suddenly come out of nowhere. Now, during this show, here we go. Look at this. Live. Big announcement. Here we go. We have got from Mr. Here We Go himself, Piero Hincapie to Arsenal. Here we go. Deal in place with Leverkusen after agreement done with the player. New defender joins AFC on fee worth 52 million euros plus a sell-on clause, which is less than initially reported, which is really good. Medical set to follow next as David Ornstein reports as well, which is really good news.
That's so interesting that he doesn't put the details though. Like David Ornstein's reporting that the reason why it's 52 million euros because it was actually supposed to be less. Like I heard around 47, 38 million euros, but it's because it's a buy option, not a guarantee, which is absolutely
no obligation.
Insane. Like that means like I read this whole piece about Arsenal's ability to sell earlier, and if it's a buy option, it's a really good way of like kind of like changing the books a little bit at all. Like you don't have to report it for this year. You can report it from whenever you want, really, like for a while. Yep. So I mean, to get a buy option is insane.
It's so good. Like, and this makes the Eze move even better now. Like, I saw you put out a video on Hincapie. I haven't watched it. I'll be honest. I haven't
very
watched
good.
it.
It's one of my better ones, I will say.
Yeah, I love that. It's very good. It's some of my best work. This is just perfect. Like, we were saying it before, weren't we? We said, what could we do in this window to make it a 10 out of 10? And we said, like, another player who can play left back. And I know he's not like your atypical flying wing back kind of player, but I actually prefer that it's not just a player like I wanted Dorgu originally. I was like, oh, Dorgu would be wicked, get him in. This actually makes more sense because now it's another player who can go into left centre back if needed, another player who can go on left back as well. I mean, he's really aggressive. I do wonder how him playing in the Premier League, especially kind of outside of the box, he gets more aggressive outside of the box. And the way that we're officiated, it could be interesting to see if he has disciplinary problems with us. But I love this move. I love it because I remember the first thing I saw with it, it was like 65 mil. And I went, that's too much. I love the player, just too much. But again, another player who's, got a big attitude in a good way. Like he's very charismatic, knows what winning takes. I love this move. But tell us, mate, because I know you've done a lot of research over this guy.
Do you know? Oh my god, this signing, like, yet again, this came out. I did my videos for the week or whatever about the game, and then honestly, I went to bed like I normally do at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. It's probably bedtime for me, and I woke up at like 4 p.m. And by the time I'd woken up, like Tottenham, like Fabrizio tweeted about Tottenham getting Hincapie, and then David Ortiz already tweeted about Arsenal. I had 400 tweets about Hincapie going to Arsenal. I was like, what has happened? What is I've just woken up. what is going on? Like, what is happening? Like, when did this happen? When were we gonna make another signing? And I was just like, and straight away I was like, oh my god! Like, I've always said this, but I probably haven't said it here, but Bayer Leverkusen are like probably my third favorite team if we're not counting.
You may have mentioned that you watch some German football.
Yeah, I love it. And since I was a kid, I've always liked Bayer Leverkusen. You know, the days of Stefan Kiesling, you know, Bellarabi. I've always been like a
Mm.
massive Bayer Leverkusen fan, specifically because I just saw them as the Arsenal of Germany. They always used to come fourth when I was growing up, same as us. So I always have a love for Leverkusen. I've always watched them, and then when Xabi Alonso went, I watched them even more because I was like, wow, they're good now. So I was actually going to go and see a game there, but I didn't in the end. Obviously, Shaka went there as well, which was a big reason for that. So when we got this link to Hincapie, I was like, wow, that's so good that I barely have to do any research because I already know, I've watched this guy so much. I know this guy. And also, when I started YouTube, I've been trying to get this guy to go to Liverpool for like 2 years. For 2 years, it was more when Klopp was there than Slot. But when Klopp was there, I was like, Hincapie is the perfect player they should bring in because he can be a backup, he can start, and that would be options. And if you look through like old tweets of like Plattenberg, the German guy who's on Sky, you see that he's been unsettled at Leverkusen for years because like he didn't play a huge amount in their unbeaten season. Like he played a lot of minutes, but he didn't start like a lot of games or play a lot of 90s overall. He was kind of in and out of the team. They played a guy called Kuzuna instead, and he went last year to Atalanta, so then he ended up playing more. But he's always been in and out of the squad. Like he at first originally years ago, he did play a little bit more as a wing back. But then when they went to a back five, he'd become a left centre back in that back five. And in pretty much most of his professional career, he's played as a left centre back in a back five. Like he's barely really devolved from that as well. So I always felt like if teams were going to play a back five, it'd be the perfect left-footed option for them. So any team that's had a back five always said to him because I was like, well, he's there. And I've always thought, oh, he could do a job for Liverpool in multiple positions. So I always thought he'd be like the perfect guy. I think I did have a video about him, but I don't know if I have it up. I might delete it because of copyright or something. But yeah, like that happened. And like it's so funny because 2 weeks ago we spoke about the perfect window, and you said like, oh, I would like a more overlapping fullback, and I just thought like I said like I don't know any out there. Like I looked at Gyokeres, he went to Napoli, and I thought that might have been an okay option, but the defensive problems are going to be there, and Arsenal are not a team that would sacrifice defensive capabilities for that sort of play. You know, we saw it with Zinchenko. It's the reason why he's not in the squad because he can't defend. So he just didn't bother. So I was thinking, like, who are we going to get? And foolish me, I should have remembered that Arteta has this weird thing about bloody hybrid centre-backs and full-backs. Who have we got? Well, we've had Tomiyasu, Timber, White, Calafiori, like, Mascara. Well, Mascara's a little bit more of a...
Well, yeah, no,
but he can be. Yeah, this guy's obsessed with them. The only ones that aren't are Gabriel and Saliba. They're the only two in our defence that aren't really, like, this sort of hybrid type.
Yeah.
So
because even Miles is a midfielder, Zinchenko midfielder, like, yeah.
It's so weird. And like when I saw this, I was like, straight away, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, obviously, I do a bit moment like Kivior's my guy. Like the thing is, like I love Kivior, and we've gone on about our love for Kivior. I have not cared once about him leaving, like because it's business. It's business, and I understand business.
Yes.
And I just go,
this is Berta doing business. Do you know what I mean? Doing what big clubs should do. And there's been far too many times where we just haven't moved. You know, in the past, we would have just kept him forever. And we would have given him another 2-year extension.
To be honest, I said to you like 2 weeks ago that I was like, because we've been speaking about all summer about Yohato and like Kivior leaving. And I always said to you that like, I'm not that bothered because I just think it's a lot of faff. And I know Arsenal aren't good with faff. We're a team that are like, we have to set out what we're doing and abide by it. I know this year's widely been quite different, but I didn't really know how that was going to look with Berta, so I was a little worried. I didn't want us to faff around and be like worrying about all this stuff. Yeah. We've got to get this player in. But then like Kivior's leaving. You know, Zinchenko might leave as well. His wages might be tough. But then you do have a left back spot open. Like Miles is a midfielder, and if Calafiori is going to be this left back option for this more attacking approach we're going to play, we can't rely on his fitness. We can't. The club know that they can't, and we know we can't. Just watching him every week, you know. I'm sitting there. He's playing 60 minutes against Leeds, and like bring him off. I don't trust him. Get him off now. Like he's the one player in that team. I was like, get him off now.
I mean, we've also had Gabriel, massive injury problems, and we didn't take him off against Leeds, did we? We kept him on the full game, and I just think this gives us another option. Like, even to bring Gabriel, say you start with the same back four that we've had for the first 2 games, you can bring Gabriel off, Calafiori slots in there, and Hincapie comes on to the left. Or Hincapie goes in there, and then Calafiori stays on the left. Like, either's fine. It gives us another option. It's really good. It gives us the option as well of, does Calafiori step into the midfield almost from, kind of like David Luiz, that kind of like mode? Or do you have it so Hincapie comes out and Calafiori goes down the line on a left back? Or there's so many options. There's a really, really interesting buy. I'm fascinated by, what they're actually going to do. And I'd love to know how long this has been planned for. Like, if this has been something that they've been planning for a long time.
I think I think without any knowledge, how I kind of see things, like, I think what this was is they probably had a set of ideas they wanted to do, and like us, we mentioned that overlapping left back was on the agenda to an extent, but they probably put it really deep, and they probably felt like, well, Kivior has to leave, Zinchenko might have to leave for that to happen, and there needs to be a good opportunity, because Hincapie has been like linked to leaving for ages, I mean, for years he has been, and I didn't follow him too much over the summer specifically, but he did go off crying last week in the game for Leverkusen, and that was the first time I heard about it, because as soon as he went off crying, someone messaged me saying like, oh, like he must be leaving then, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess so. I haven't heard anything, so like, yeah, I'm sure like they're looking at deals there.
That's interesting.
And when I heard that, like, obviously, like, it seems like I know that the teams have been interested. Tottenham were, I think Chelsea were at some point, but then they got Hato in, so they kind of like didn't need to. And I think other teams like Bayern have been interested in the past. So maybe he was just still there on the market. And the rumours are that Berta came in. Apparently, he had like 10 or 11 clubs that wanted to get him, and he wanted Arsenal, which, admittedly, like I've said multiple times, if we are going against top teams of Tottenham, I think we can outbeat them, to be honest. Like,
I mean, we know that when Arsenal come calling, it's a different knock. And that is not a plug for Alex, by the way.
The thing is like, this is such a proactive signing. Like, get rid of Kivior, bring in a player that is a better profile of player to Kivior. Not only is he a better backup on the left back, because Kivior isn't brilliant there and kind of stopped a lot of our attacking tactics. He is that more like fast, aggressive type than Kivior. Kivior's a brilliant defender. Kivior did a lot for this club. Like, but I always remember that Bernabeu game. I had one of my most viewed videos is off that game, so I always remember it. But he is a beast. Like, I love Kivior so much, and I think he did help the team a lot, but no one really gave him credit. But this is now what big clubs do. You're not the right profile. This is a good time to sell you. We probably could have got more money if he wasn't.
He's going to be too good for that league. Like he is.
Yeah. Because the thing is as well, we could have got good offers. Like I said on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that Palace would be perfect for him because he'd be their best defender. But it seems like Palace tried and he didn't want to go there, unfortunately. And we've got to respect that. Like, this guy did a lot for the club. He never complained. He sat there and waited for his game time to play every single week. He was never injured. He gave it the best. Yes, there was games that he was weak against, Fulham, Bayern, games that he wasn't brilliant against. But he always put in a shift and tried his best. And that's all you can ask for an Arsenal player. And he ultimately, I think, gave back what we paid for him in the time at the club. He was excellent in the last couple of months in the Bernabeu, in these big games. And ultimately, I think Jakub Kivior, I think it's respectful of the club to agree with his decision and go, we're not going to force you anywhere. If you want to go to Porto, we'll let you go to Porto, because we're going to make the same amount of money back we bought you for, and you've repaid us more than that. Think about it, like the performances against Real Madrid, us winning the Champions League quarterfinals to get to the semis is like 50 million itself. Like, he was a major part of that team. So, like, I think this makes total sense. Hincapie, I have a really big mental block because I know it's Hincapie and I say it's Hincapie, but in my video I said Hincapie, so I can't stop it. Cause when I look at the word, I just see Hincapie.
Oh, mate,
it's the worst player I've had it.
Don't worry about that. So I've got a chant already. So don't worry, be happy.
I know that so.
Don't worry, Hincapie.
It gets you to remember it.
Hincapie. So I tell you, it's going to be ringing round the Emirates. Don't worry about that. Right. On that note, probably the best thing to do is go on the last slide, isn't it? For everyone's sake. So this was a suggestion from Reece, which really made me chuckle. Do we like Cesc Fabregas? Go for it, mate. Explain. Explain.
Well, I just keep seeing like people talk about like him being our future manager, and then I see so many people on Twitter and TikTok and stuff being like, "Oh, I want him nowhere near the club." I personally don't feel like that. Like, I don't. I mean, I am quite like as a person, I am quite willing to forgive, especially over a long period of time, because I just honestly, I just don't really care that much about stuff, to be honest. And I think even with this situation, like I was. Like, I think it's more the Barca thing that annoys people than any of the Chelsea things, which I can understand a lot more. Because the Chelsea thing doesn't piss me off at all. Like, I don't particularly care. Like, it was reported that he wanted to come to Arsenal, and Wenger were like, "We don't need you." And then, what's he going to do? Just sit on the bench? Like, so I think I get the whole wearing the Barca shirt. I do remember that, and like kind of flirting with them for a very long time annoyed a lot of Arsenal fans, and then he went there in the end, and I get that. But at the time, we weren't really at a club at the same level as them, like consistently, really. I don't know. It's really weird because when he left, well, when did he leave Arsenal? Like I would have been like 12 or 13 years. I would have been super young. So it's like hard for me to like really think about those things.
I mean, for me, when he went to Barca, like the whole Barca shirt and stuff, I blame that more on the Spanish players. Like they basically forced it on him, and it was a very clever thing from there because then it kind of starts forcing Cesc's hand. It's right out in the media. Like it puts Arsenal in a really, really tough spot. In terms of the move itself, it was a step up. Like I'm happy to admit that it was a step up. We weren't the Invincibles at the time, and they were like poaching one of our players. Like, and then he's Catalonian, and that's his boyhood team. Like, it's to me, I was very much kind of like the Crystal Palace people have been recently with Eze. The majority of them have been absolutely amazing. Like, it was such a refreshing thing to see people just going, no, good. Good luck to him. He deserves this move to Arsenal, and he's going back to where he wants to be. This is his dream move. And for Fabregas, that was his dream move. And he was unbelievably successful there. I think some people look and go, oh, he wasn't great. Like, yes, he was played out of position a lot and played as like a false nine and sometimes on the left. And this is a guy who played every big game. He played in those big games. And when you're playing in a team and the midfield is Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets, like, yeah, you're not going to get insane minutes in the middle of midfield. I don't care who you are. So on that side of things, like going to Barca, I wasn't bothered. When he first came back to Chelsea, that hurt. And I mean, Guna Milsey, I was just about to say it, mate. Like, people forget he wanted to come back to us and not go to Chelsea. So at the beginning, I was really hurt. And then when I found out that we had first refusal, didn't we? And Wenger was like, no, we've already got Ozil. We can't, I think, we couldn't financially do it. And it was like, how do we fit in? And then we went to Chelsea and played a lot deeper and started controlling matches and, playing more like a Pirlo role, I guess. Like, by that point, it's like, well, I can't blame him. If it was Van Persie, I'd be fuming. Like, if someone said, "Oh, Van Persie's coming back to the club as manager," don't get me wrong, I would go mental. You'd see a meltdown from me online. With Cesc, I'd be like, cool. Like, and there's also, I don't know if you've seen it. There was I don't know if it was an interview or he was just sat with Thierry Henry, and they said, "Oh, who do you support? Like, who's your British team?" And he doesn't really say anything. And Thierry's like, "We know it's Arsenal." And he kind of smiles. And it's like, well, yeah, that's true.
He's way more positive about. He is like, Cesc is like, this is the thing with Cesc. How I depend how I feel about people, especially with like me not remembering well because I was very young, is that like how respectful they are of the clubs in retrospect. And Cesc has always been respectful of Arsenal. I think he speaks very well. I think every time I see an interview of him, like the knowledge he has, the sort of like benefit of the doubt as well he has. Like, he does remind me a lot of Arteta, but a lot less. He is like as like demanding, it seems like, but not as bad. If you get what I mean, he seems a little bit more softer sometimes. Maybe as a manager, he's a bit more demanding. I think he is for Coma. I've watched a few games, but I like personally. This is the thing.
Stig
Like,
loves the Cesc.
like the thing is, I like Cesc, and I speak to my friends my age who support Arsenal, and none of us have bad blood against Cesc either. And most of the time that we remember Cesc in the Premier League is for Chelsea. I remember him getting the assists and winning the Prem for them more than I remember him for Arsenal. I remember maybe like brief moments of him for Arsenal, but not like very well at all. So it's just like, and I still just don't like. I don't know. I'm not really like that. Like in terms of football, I think that I'm not really in the norm of a football fan. I think I look at things more like a business, more analytically than like emotionally a lot of the time. And like I speak to people and they talk to me. So I was like speaking to those Norwich fans on the weekend, and they talk about like, well, we don't know what's going on, but we just go and watch the game because we enjoy it and we know the players and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. That's what most people do when they enjoy football. I respect that. But that's just not how I look at things. And like I like knowing the context of situations before I like really make a decision. Like if I see reports about stuff, I can kind of gauge an opinion about something, and I have an opinion. But that opinion can always change about it if I hear more in the future. But I will have an initial opinion about something, even if it's outside of football. But I think with like Cesc, I'm like, if I think the club still likes Cesc. I think he's still got good relationships with the club. And I think Cesc could still come to Arsenal. Like I think Arsenal would be happy for him to come to Arsenal. I think he would, like in the future. I think he's a good manager. I think he's really developing well in Italy, with a lot of money, I will say. There's no change here, I guess. But it'd be interesting because I think a lot of the fans don't care like me, and they're like, oh, it's Cesc, it's whatever. We like Cesc. We see him as the positive things. But I think a lot of people see him as that negative. It's such a divide because it's not like a Nasri or a Van Persie where everyone doesn't like him, or like someone like Giroud where like I feel like a lot of people still like Giroud. I feel like Giroud's very much liked, maybe in terms of a person, maybe not as like an individual footballer, but I think everyone understood why he left for Chelsea at the time he did. It weren't like rocket science. It weren't really like his whole problem. But I don't know. With Cesc, it's one of the weird ones. Like I don't know. I like.
Yeah, there's definitely players I hate more than him. Like there's without a shadow of doubt.
It's quite funny. Would you? Let's say hypothetically, Shaquille Van Persie's son, who's in the Feyenoord academy. If he was really good and say he was available to come to Arsenal, would you be happy with Van Persie's son playing for Arsenal? He just does it round two. Just goes to Liverpool.
Honestly, like, wouldn't bother me. Like, you're not, you're your own person at the end of the day.
You're not defined by your father.
And don't get me wrong, there's certain parts that I agree with Van Persie with, like that the move was the right move for him. And Arsenal were not showing ambition. It's just the fact that he went directly to essentially our Premier League biggest rivals ever. Historically, Man United have been our rivals, whereas Tottenham have been our geographical, they're our neighbours. We just don't like them. Whereas they've never been our rivals. They're not on the same level as us.
It's like
that's not me. Just not.
But this is the thing. Like it's well, it depends how you do things. Like up until 2021, I genuinely couldn't have cared about Man City at all. Like like my friends would be like I'd watch Man City and have enjoyment watching their games because they weren't our rival competitively. They were just way better than us. And we don't have a historic rivalry with Man City. They were good when we were bad, and we were good when they were bad. Like there was never, until now, we've never really crossed over like that. But obviously, like the Adebayor, the Nasri, like the cliches, bloody everyone. Like these signings didn't go down well because of the way that they went and the disrespect I felt like a lot of people felt like with our club, which is absolutely fair. But I still didn't care about Man City. Like when we signed Jesus and Zinchenko from them, I never once in my eyes thought, oh, that's a rival. I was like, oh wow, it's like big bro giving you the hand-me-downs. That's what I felt like. I just felt like that's kind of like in that way. And it's funny we talk about this because I do want to talk about a subject that isn't to do with Arsenal briefly, which is related to this. About rivalries. Now, a lot of you people watching, and you probably won't know either, because it's very niche, let's say, to my area. But there's a little guy called Marcelino Nunez, and I just want to have a little chat with Marcelino Nunez. So Nunez has been at Norwich as a midfielder for a couple of years now. You know, he didn't start. He was in the Championship. Oh no, he played in the Prem and then the Championship as well. I went to his first game at the Norwich when he played, and we were chanting Nunez. We started a chant. You know, I like to think that might have caught on, might not have. So he was a pretty good, but he wasn't really trusted at Norwich for a very long time. But it's fair enough. But last season, he became a major player of this midfield, and he's a set piece baller. He's really good in like build up. Like he's a good player. And then randomly, he has decided that he wants to go to not only Norwich's basically only rivals that they have, bear in mind. This is like Arsenal and Tottenham times 8 because it's the only team that are anywhere near Norwich in the Football League. And if you like, Norwich and Ipswich is like more as well because it's Norfolk versus Suffolk, so it's entire counties that hate each other. And he's decided that he has gone for £10 million yesterday or today, it got confirmed, to the arch rivals Ipswich. And in their celebrations, in their intro videos, they've got him touching the badge, talking about how he doesn't like it. And Onel Hernandez, who was a Norwich player that's been part of the furniture for about 8 years, he's never done anything of note in about 7 of them. He has a YouTube channel, and he said in his YouTube channel, he went, "I will break you." He said that to him. And on Instagram, he put a picture of Marcel Nunez and put a rat filter over it. So it's an absolute it's all going down right now on the east side of the country, and and the thing is, Marcelo Nunez, he doesn't speak much English. He's not very well associated with the community and stuff. And it really just feels like he doesn't understand what he's doing. Like, I've spoken to people and they were like, you can tell he just has no idea. And it's like, also, there is absolutely no point to go from Norwich to Ipswich. Maybe slightly better.
But yeah.
It's pointless. And
surely his advisors should be saying, yeah, that's not good. That's not good move.
Norwich got good money, like £10 million to Norwich for a player that isn't like Josh Sargent, Gabriel Sara, like Borges signed, who's amazing for Porto, by the way. And they spent 20 mil on it. He was at Norwich. Now he's Porto's best player. Great. But all these players are actually class players. But when I look at this guy, he's not like that level. So 10 mil is good money from Norwich's point of view. But oh my God, his advisors is not good. And that is where I'm really not like that with football. I'm not tribalistic. I'm not like that. But that is one of the moments where I'm loosely involved with it, associated, and it's I cannot believe that your starting central midfielder, he was vice captain or something, he was on the way. He's just gone to your arch rival.
That's bad. That's so bad.
I don't begrudge the club for doing it. They got good money, but oh my god. Well,
it's like Adebayor, right? I saw an interview with Adebayor basically complaining about Arsenal fans and not receiving love. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You left us and went to Man City and then decided to basically rile everyone up with that celebration. And then after, you go to our arch rivals in Tottenham, the one club you can't play for if you've played at Arsenal. And you go there, and so why is anyone going to give you the benefit of the doubt? It's things like that really irritate me. But the Cesc one, he's not directly gone to our rivals. And
it's the same with Chelsea Ashley Cole, isn't it? Ashley Cole's a great example. In hindsight, it kind of makes sense why Ashley Cole left kind of loosely, but you can understand his perspective at a young age. But in interviews, he makes it act like it was live or die. He acts like if he didn't leave for Arsenal, he was screwed. But a lot of the reasons he left was because he wanted a pay increase, realistically, and maybe some game time. But ultimately, that is not Arsenal's. It's not their duty and their guarantee to give you that. One, you're young and you have to work your way into the squad. And two, if you want loads of money, you have to play like that for consistent. You can't play good and come through and break for over a year and be like, well, I want loads of money. It should be a courtesy that the club give you that. I think in hindsight, if you go, well, realistically, I got a better offer from Chelsea and that's why I left. You won't go, fair enough. But it's how he says things that really annoys me. It's I had to
drives
do it.
me insane.
You wouldn't understand if you weren't in that situation. It's what? You wanted more money. That's you're telling us we wouldn't understand that. Bro, just leave it out, man.
And the other thing is, it's you're playing at a club in Arsenal that are challenging for everything. You're surrounded by these other world-class players. And don't get me wrong, in hindsight, he probably should have had a pay rise. But no one could compete with Chelsea in what they were spending at the time. Like, it's just say the truth. I know everyone has like their own version of the truth, but we were never going to compete with Chelsea on the wage front. And then you have other players like Thierry Henry. If Thierry Henry is not jumping ship to get paid more, then you can sit and stay there, especially at the club that made you.
It's just so stupid.
It's the only one I can kind of compare it to is like Trent and Real Madrid. But Trent's going to a club that is it's undoubtedly the best team in the world. Like if you said, right, where are you going to go at the end of your career, at the your right peak, where would you like to go? Barca or Real Madrid? That would be everyone. So I just think, but he wasn't doing that. He was just going down the road to a team that weren't as good as us at the time for more money. So
it's also like the thing is, I hate when people cannot see, at least try to understand some other perspectives. Like if I make a comment in my video and I 100% agree with a comment, but I get comments saying like you're stupid, that's dumb. I can at least make, like, it depending on the way they say it, I can at least understand, like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see where they don't agree and stuff like that. Because there's like a big thing about it is like we talk about it, but the Cannon podcasts are very set on the fact that Arsenal should have spent money in January. I am very much in the opposite direction in hindsight, that I don't want an Ollie Watkins. I don't think Ollie Watkins is good enough in long term, and I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah, I had agreed with you in that one.
That is fine. We have different opinions, and like I think they're both valid, and I can understand their perspective. Like when you put it like black and white as that. But there's and I think that's easy. But there's some footballers who just don't understand things, and there is people obviously genuine in life that don't as well. But Eze is such a fresh air because he is a guy that knows things. Like when he spoke about, because I see people on Twitter going, well, you guys got rid of him at 13. Why would he want to come back? Because he understood when he grew up that the world is more than easy to see than that. And, he was super young. They didn't know his talent at that age. He maybe not developed fully and all this stuff. But also how it works. It's about business. It's about politics. Like there's so much in youth academies, which we spoke about earlier. It's like, he knew that it's not a personal thing against Eze. They didn't personally go to Eze, we're dropping you because of you. They dropped him because of other reasons and things. And ultimately, they've hundreds and hundreds of people in their academy, and they've probably got to cut loads every year. And they probably don't know too much about every single player. So they're just like, well, we have to figure out ways to make this work and find the best ones. And he maybe just didn't stand out. And he understood that, and he's grown up and still had that belief that he wanted to play for Arsenal. And that just shows you someone that's not only very mature, but someone that has like understood how things work to at least know. You don't have to be happy with things. If some people have the same situation and they feel like they were screwed over by their club, like Rio Nagoma is a great example. He was screwed over by Chelsea. They didn't give him that platform, and he went, I'm going to Liverpool. Absolutely fair. Like Chido Obi is a great example. Like if I don't agree with his idea of this like projection that he had, but if he was getting advised to go to United because they think it was a better option, the money was better right now, and also like it made more sense because United are worse than Arsenal, he could probably get in the team a bit more, then I'm not going to go judge him for that. That's fair enough. Like he made that decision, he will hold that now, and that is what he's got to like live with. So like I think like I'm sure that hopefully that he'll grow up and be a bit more like respectful and stuff and be like, oh, this is how it works. Like Arsenal didn't want to offer me this amount of money, which I hope he grows up and feels like, well, that's fair enough. Because sometimes I feel like, it's just sometimes you can't all just be angry all the time. So I'd say.
Mate, what a lovely note to finish on. You can't always be angry. I agree with that. Oh, episode 21 in the bag. It's mad that we've gone to episode 21, mate. Like pretty much every week, even like on holiday, we've put out some pre-records, haven't we, and stuff. Like it's been, I've even done one and then had to run off and vomit. So, the dedication. Wow. FOKLZ podcast. Strength to strength. Those of you in the chat still, thank you so much, because it is 11 o'clock now. We've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. We appreciate all of the support as always. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the video. It helps with the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified when we go, because we are here every week at about 8:30. on a Friday, live, answering your questions, going through all the matches and all the current news. Reece, where can everyone find you?
Wackles Football, Wackles Analysis, my second channel. Wackles YT, Wackles Football TikTok. You know, it's
And obviously, you can find me on Forder on Footy on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, and you can find me on here on this channel. Obviously, we will see you all next week after the Liverpool win. It's going to be a 2-1 win. I said it earlier. It's going to be a 2-1 win. And on that note, we will catch you all soon. Cheers now, everyone.